MNLCS, this is going to be week 5 of the tournament league, with game 1 going to be our game of the week. To start off is going to be the UMN Ganked by Gophers versus the UMD Top Dogs. Both of these teams are undefeated thus far. They are both guaranteed spots in our playoff. However, them being the best team is going to be nice to see which one makes the other completely away from that undefeated record. With us today, we have Steven Sir Buttkick Kangas on our play-by-play casting, and Donovan Madcast Fenris on color casting. Sir Buttkick, how do you think this first game is going to go? I'm really excited for this.
I think it's going to be possibly the most hyped game of the tournament so far. Again, we mentioned it's the only two undefeated teams in the tournament at the moment playing against each other. It's not going to mean too much for their standings towards playoffs. They both have a guaranteed spot, but it's really exciting to see which one is going to be that number 1 seed. That is what they're fighting for right now, and that's what these games are going to show us. And it looks like both teams are ready, so we should be getting into this very soon.
Now, I'm going to be expecting a lot more bans focused around the jungle, because from the last few games that we've been seeing, a lot of the wins have been focused around these jungle players, especially Literary Potato and also Quincy Adams have been very powerful with their jungle playstyle. Very aggressive, very invasive, and overall just dominating.
Yeah, absolutely. But it looks like these teams have done the research. They know exactly what they're going to ban. Ganked by Gophers with 3 insta-locks. Ezreal makes a lot of sense. We saw Cucurino play 3 games in a row on Ezreal, do amazing in every single one. He has the best KDA in the tournament so far, sitting at 19 kills and assists to deaths, which is pretty impressive. Only 3 deaths from that last week's game. So I think that's a smart ban. And on the side of the Top Dogs here, they're looking to ban out some of mid lane on Midget Gutter. What do you think about that?
The mid lane ban on Midget Gutter is pretty smart, just because we also see him working very well with Literary Potato, and he also has the second highest KDA. His 2 main champions so far being Orianna and Syndra. And it does like we will be seeing a Karma lock-in, which that has been played before by other people in the mid lane and support. So it's still a flex pick, very nice, because if they try and counter pick in one of the lanes, you're going to send Karma over to the other one. However, it makes a bit of a weakness in the side that there's no power pick right now, which I think I would rather see something like a Jhin pick or potentially a jungler pick. We do know that there are plenty of very powerful junglers right now. Nunu is still very strong. We also know that Rek'Sai has been pretty valuable to a lot of teams.
Yeah, but if I'm on the side of Top Dogs, I got to take away Nidalee from Literary Potato. He has not gotten to play that champ once this tournament. It's been banned against him all 4 weeks for good reason. He is absolutely a monster in the jungle. We've seen his Graves. We've seen his Brand. Also, Elise, he's very comfortable on. But if he's able to pick up this Nidalee, it's going to be bad news. And they don't pick it up. We'll see if that's a priority pick now on the side of GBG.
Very true, and one thing I'm actually kind of interested about was that Victor ban. Seeing as Victor only has a 40% win rate, and it's only been pick or banned rarely within this tournament. It's only about 45%. So, kind of curious as to why that ban occurred, but it's still left over some options for both teams. We do see the Jhin and Trundle lock in immediately. Looks like it is possibly going to be another AD carry lock-in from the side of the Ganked by Gophers just to match up, since now they know what that lane is going to be like. But we may see them also go for more straight focus picks on gain whatever is strong. Looks like they're hovering that Jinx. It could be a lock-in for another vote. Yes, we have seen him play well in some scaling champions in the past.
This would be his first Jinx game, however. I would like to see that.
Yeah, and if this...
Or rather, no, he has played Jinx one more time. Sorry, that was my bad. But it would be fun. And Literary Potato does get his Elise pick. Chooses to not take the Nidalee, even though it is finally on the table for him. But he has had a lot of success these past 2 weeks on Elise. It's a very strong champion for him.
Yeah, and the one thing to think about with the Nidalee, though, is that she is very early game focused. It doesn't really scale well into the late game. She doesn't have utility. You can't really build her a tank either, just to make sure you're useful late game. Elise allows you to still scale. She has more of a safety net for if you fall behind any tiny bits in the early portion of the game.
Yeah, and I like the Caitlyn pickup. It's a nice, strong AD carry. It hasn't seen too much priority so far in this tournament. Most AD carries have been opting to take Jhin, Lucian, Jinx, but I'm happy to see a little bit of variety here from them. What do you think is going to come from the side of Top Dogs? Oh, doesn't look like you get a chance to answer. It's going to be Vladimir and Vi.
Vi is really good against Caitlyn and Karma just because she can kind of keep chasing even though there is that extra range from Caitlyn. Just because if you can land that ultimate from Vi, it's kind of an immediate lockdown. You can't really escape from it unless you have a black shield, which you already know there's not really a black shield or a spell shield type of thing going to be coming from Games by Gophers. Unless if this is a mid lane Karma and then they lock in something like a Morgana support, which is a possibility. However, a Morgana support is not going to be that useful against a Trundle or Vladimir, who offers a lot more frontal damage.
Yeah, what I'd like to see on Varix, he's played 2 games Alistar and 2 games on Janna. I think both of those could be strong picks here. I really like the Alistar personally. He can get the Trundle and the Vi off of Never Vote Yes. Caitlyn, fairly a mobile champ. Oh, but maybe it is that Karma support. They're hovering Ahri.
And I actually would like that though, just because the Karma would allow them to kind of kite away from Trundle and Vladimir a lot easier. Meanwhile, going to someone that has a lot more damage in the mid lane makes it so that there's still that burst, makes it so that there's pressure against the Vladimir, which already allows that, as well as having a very strong roaming potential, so that you can just go to other lanes, which Vlad can oftentimes make mid lane a stalemate. Being able to roam and pressure other parts of the map is a great way to play against the Vladimir.
Yeah, and I really like seeing Midget Gutter on this Ahri. I think it's going to be a fantastic champion for him. We've already seen him on it. He did very well. I mean, the way that GBG play, we've seen them play the past 4 weeks, is really heavily focused on the mid lane and the jungle. Potato and Midget Gutter have such good synergy. They're constantly roaming together, and I really like Ahri pick for that specifically. And what's interesting to note is Midget Gutter and Kukurino are tied in the tournament right now for the least deaths. So we'll see if that is able to change it all here. I personally think that Ahri will have a slightly better time of surviving over a Jhin. What do you think about that?
That's definitely a case here that Ahri will have an easier time surviving. However, don't forget that Jin's job in most of these fights is going to be simply sit back and use her ultimate to start off the fight. We've seen before that that's the way that most people like to use Jhin, and then they'll kind of just keep him in the back so that if he lives after a fight, he'll be there to take objectives fairly fast. And we do also see the Janna complement that because a lot of AD to Jin's kit in order to make his ultimate that much more powerful, as well as help heal him for if anyone such as an Ahri or an Echo were to try and dive.
Yeah, definitely. And we're seeing the final team locked in also. Janna is picked up in the game, not by Varix, but instead by Gavin97 for this game in particular. We've seen the Janna plus Jhin combo in this tournament already. It's had a lot of success in the past, so I think they're trying to emulate that again and see if they're able to pull off another victory with that bot lane. What do you think about the top lane? This is something that I always like to talk about. I feel like we've had some very interesting top lane matchups. This one's fairly standard, however. Echo versus Trundle. Typically, in your opinion, which one has the more favorable matchup?
In the early parts of the lane, it does kind of go towards Echo usually, just because he has a lot more wave clear than Trundle. So you can always shove in the wave, push it in, let it reset, and then pull it back to make it so that's in his favor. And Trundle, being a melee champion, is forced to either make it where he's at risk for a potential gank, or he just needs to give up farm. Which, if Wiki can play this right, so that's the situation he can set up. However, we have seen this many times. Once Trundle hits 6 and gets that subjugate ability leveled up, he is a monster that is very hard to take care of.
And that is very true. It's going to be very dependent, again, on the jungle pressure. Potato, very good at roaming. He's especially roaming topside a lot. I think the last game, week 4, we saw him topside of the jungle for about 70% of the game. Did not visit bot side that much. But that just proves how much confidence they have in their bot lane duo between Never Vote Yes and Varix. And I think that that's going to be a very safe lane for them. We already mentioned Karma is going to be very good at being able to disengage, make sure that they're safe under their turret if Quincy Adams ever chooses to roam bot side.
If anything, I think I'd actually like to see the junglers focus more towards the bottom lane this game, just because there is a lot more overall tanky champions that are set within both teams. We have an Elise who's probably going to be building at least hybrid tank towards the mid to late game, an Echo, which we see a lot of times built in that bruiser setup with the Trinity Force into a full tank. There's a Trundle who we know gets very tanky. There is a Vi who usually goes a bruiser setup. There is an assassin build for Vi that has gotten somewhat popular, going warrior into Yomu's Ghostblade, into Duskblade, but I'm not sure if that's going to come up here. And they also have a Vladimir who becomes a raid boss as the game goes on. So trying to get the Caitlyn scaling that much faster would be very good for the Games by Gophers here, just because she can get something such as the Lord Dominus Guard. And for Jhin, if he goes something such as a crit build rather than the normal armor pen build, it will allow him to scale a little bit better, since they already know that their mid game is covered by Trundle, Vi, and Vladimir's damage.
Yeah. I like to see, again, this bot lane between Jhin and Janna. Jhin, a very immobile champion, usually easy to gank, but Janna, I think you can attest to this as well, being a fellow support main. Very difficult to gank a lane with a Janna in it. She has a lot of CC that just pushes any jungler away at will. But we are going to be loading into this game here in about 5 seconds. Which team overall do you feel had the better pick and ban phase?
For a better pick and ban phase, I am going to give it over to... I think I'd honestly have to say the top dogs, just because of the synergy of how well their team works together. They have two very kind of like drain tanks in Trundle and Vladimir. They have a very powerful objective control jungler in Vi, who can easily go over walls, try and steal objectives, as well as having overall a lot of crowd control to force a jungler away from it. They also have a Jhin, who has very far range pick, and works excellently with any of these scalings, especially if there's Infernal Dragons early in this game. And then they also have a Janna who can help keep any carries that are in trouble from the dive alive. Now, the way for the Ganks by Gophers to play to their best is going to be working with their extreme pick potential, roaming around the map, constantly working with setting up dives. Since they have an Echo who can easily just chrono break away after diving, they have an Elise who can repel, they have an Ahri who has her ultimate, and they also have a Karma and a Caitlyn who can kind of poke and damage people outside of a tower's range. So in the early game, this is definitely in the favor of the Ganks by Gophers. This is going to see how well they can use the early game pressure they have to either invade into the enemy jungle and starve out this Vi, or to simply keep the lanes at a point of pressure where they have no way of trying to get ahead.
Yeah, I like how you mentioned that. Again, Ganked by Gophers, we're seeing them with an early game focused team. They have the fastest average game in the tournament so far. Again, they're undefeated with an average game time of 24 minutes and 22 seconds. That is lightning speed. They like to play games quick. They like to end them fast, and we definitely see that in their pick and bans. We have a slight pause here, so we'll see how... Looks like there is a bathroom break, unfortunately, on one of these teams. Come on.
Guys are supposed to be taking care of this before you get into the game. But
it does give us a chance to talk about, on the other side, GBG want to win this fast, but we're looking at the top dogs and some of their statistics from the past 4 weeks. They like to take maybe the longer route, more objective control. You already mentioned that a little bit with Vi being able to steal some of those objectives. They have the most dragons earned in this tournament, sitting at 11 compared to Ganked by Gophers 7. And they also have the most Barons in the tournament so far. Every single week they've secured a Baron, which is pretty impressive for this team.
Yeah, and just taking a look at some of the Keystone Masters, we can see that Never Vote Yes on Caitlyn has opted for the Warlord's Bloodlust, which we have seen become more of a meta thing, making so you can survive in the mid to late game a lot more, especially if there is those divers and heavy burst champions. But it's making it so that there's not a lot of damage pressure within the lane, but there's sustained pressure where they can simply last longer. How do you think that is going to end up playing out, seeing as the opposing lane from the top dogs doesn't really have much sustain to follow up?
I think it's an interesting choice. I definitely see the pros and the cons behind it. I honestly think that both of these compositions on the bot lane play fairly similarly, actually. They both just kind of want to protect their AD carry. I think that on the side of GBG, they have a little more pressure. Varix on Karma can do way more damage than Gavin on the Janna, but to an extent, they both want to do the same thing. They both want to farm up, they both want to snipe each other out, and they both want their supports to just be able to protect their AD carries as much as possible.
Yeah, and we do see it's a very standard start where it's going to be the jungler starting in the bot lane, starting with the bot camps with getting a standard leash, and it looks like there is going to be no real warding coming from either team early on. So not much information going to be given off there. We do see that Quincy Adams finished his camp a little bit faster than Larry Potato, and he's actually roaming over towards the bot lane, potentially for a really early gank or potential invade.
Yeah, Potato gets to level 2 and is going straight over to try to mess with Quincy Adams here. The junglers are going to meet. What's going to happen? Quincy Adams was able to secure the blue buff. Looks to be able to just get away safely. But it does mean the Potato can take wolves from him.
But how do you think this is going to be impacting the overall clear of Potato, though? Because now he is missing both of his buffs, and it's going to be that much longer before he can obtain them. And Quincy Adams, knowing now that Potato's over on his side of the jungle, he could easily just try to call over Kyle XO to go with him to the blue buff immediately and pick that up. Which, and at least without a blue buff, is going to be very mana-starved in the early game.
Yeah, not even gifting over the blue buff to Midget Gutter. That would be a huge loss for Ganked by Gophers, but we see Potato heading back down, probably to pick up his red buff. And some damage already being traded in the bot lane. Not too much, though. Still, no summoners blown. I think that this jungle matchup is already going in the favor, however, of the top dogs. That was a very interesting start by Ganked by Gophers. I like what they were trying to do. It just didn't quite work in their favor.
We do see You Won't Do It going very hard onto Wiki here.
Yeah, a lot of damage being blown. Is he going to get a flash? Ooh, but Wiki's able to land the stun. There's the damage there. Oh, flash in from You Won't Do It, but the minions are doing so much damage. Quincy Adams is on the top side, however. Wiki has to go back in. He's going to try to get the kill. He has a ward. Ooh, is able to juke Quincy Adams, but now he's in a bad place. Is he able to get away? Oh, and first blood does go over to Quincy Adams.
And because of that pillar at the last second, You Won't Do It was able to get the assist. Otherwise, it would have been timed out, and the Quill would have gone solo over to Quincy Adams. But we do see that Potato is now invading into the enemy side jungle, going to get some vision, and potentially going for a gank here with a teleport coming in from Wiki.
Yeah, he's on the top side. Looks like he understands what he can and cannot do, though. They are not in a position to dive under that turret, unfortunately. So, just going to be some counter jungling. And Ganked by Gophers off to a rough start right now.
It does give the opportunity for Potato to work well with Wiki to shove in this top wave really hard if he opts to, which would make it so that Trundle is either forced to teleport early, or to keep the idea that Potato is counter jungling right now hidden, and he can actually save the teleport for later. However, that does give teleport advantage now over to the top dogs.
Yeah, I like what Ganked by Gophers is doing, though. They understand Wiki's a little behind now. They say, look, let's just freeze the wave, let him get as much farm as he can. He will have a CS advantage over You Won't Do It. So, Summoner spell advantage to CS advantage. It's pretty even, I'd say.
Yeah, especially because the teleport from Trundle won't really do much most of the time. It can be well played if the lane he's teleporting to is very overextended, or if he teleports for an objective or for the purpose of keeping an objective under control. However, there are 3 people hovering towards the top lane right now that could be trying to look for a dive. Doesn't look like they'll actually be going for anything. Magic got hand back towards the mid lane, and Potato is backing off.
Yeah, very good ward coverage from the top dogs on the top side there. They could see it coming if Potato did decide to go in. So I think it was a wise choice to back off, just try to reset some of the jungle. And we saw that Quincy Adams had a lot of chances to take blue buff away from Potato, but he left it on the table the entire time.
Since they never actually saw Potato invading into the enemy jungle, there was no knowledge on whether or not he took his blue buff. So they honestly don't know that Potato is level 3 right now. They don't know that he hasn't taken his own topside jungle yet. None of that is actually of knowledge to the other team.
Very true, and this wave is going to push in to the side of top dogs, but again, we're seeing this very large CS advantage towards Wiki, who's deciding to kind of bully You Won't Do It out of lane, saying, hey, you got the assist, but hey, I still win the 1v1.
Yeah, now he's over double the farm of You Won't Do It, which once he backs, we'll be able to collect a lot of items from that. Probably going to be an early Sheen, or perhaps a Phase, just to make it so he actually has more direct farming potential. And it looks like for early items, we will see a Morel Namacon Rush from Midget Gutter, and the Spirit Visage Rush from Kyle XO, a very standard start. One will be to cancel out the healing of Vladimir, and the other one is to enhance it, so they will be kind of canceling each other out in one sense. However,
very standard build for Vladimir. I like to see the proto belt, but unfortunately, it's not the optimal build path.
One thing I am kind of interested to look at is going to be the Ancient Coin by Gavin97, just because when it upgrades, it's either going to be used to get the Sightstone combination, which is only good for regenerative stats, or you build into the Talisman of Ascension in order to give yourself a lot of armor in the early game. However, there's only one physical damage dealer on all of Ganked by Gophers. So, building that Talisman of Ascension would only be good if Gavin is going to be getting hit by Never Vote Yes, which, due to the high range of Caitlyn, is going to be a very unlikely thing.
Yeah, we're seeing Potato path a little through mid lane here. He's still a full level behind Quincy Adams, who is on the bot side, ready to make something happen down here. Are they going to see him? They do have a ward there. Well placed by Gameplay Gophers, but it seems like there's a counter gank. Potato flashes in, gets a cocoon. A lot of damage coming in from Midget Cutter. Quincy Adams tries to jump away, but he's not able to get there, and the kill goes over to Potato. And again, we talked about Midget Gutter and Potato always roaming together, always putting pressure in the side lanes as a unit, and another success there.
I feel like trying to escape using the Vault Breaker by Vi, or not the Vault Breaker, I'm sorry, just the overall ultimate by Vi was a little bit of a risky decision, just because since it was unlikely to be successful, it's a 150-second cooldown ability, so that's now 2.5 minutes that you are missing the key ability of Vi to perform ganks against these very mobile laners.
Yeah, you won't do it, try to jump on Wiki, or rather just trying to keep him away from the farm. And we saw that blue buff was taken away and gifted to Midget Gutter. So that is going to be 1 blue buff minus towards the top dogs.
Another thing I'd like to look at is that I believe this is the first game that Potato has actually built a tracker's knife.
Ooh, but we see a TP coming in on Dragon, and Curtain Call's pulled up by Kakarino, but that means he's very immobile. Potato's taking a lot of damage, but they jump in. Ooh, is Midget able to get the damage? Unfortunately not, and top dogs just collapses so well. Wiki's able to teleport in. He's trying to get damage out there. Gavin flashed over the wall. It's a 1-for-2 trade advantage towards the top dogs, but it might not be over. Top dogs have the advantage, but maybe not.
It may be a 1-for-2 trade, but looking at the summoners, there were a total of 7 summoners blown by the top dogs, while only 2 were used by Gameplay Gophers. Even though there was 1 more killed there, once everyone is spawning back up, there's going to be a lot more pressure coming from the Gameplay Gophers. And since no objective was actually taken, I'd say it's slightly in their favor, just because of the immense summoner spell difference now.
Yeah, there's a big summoner spell difference and only a 600 gold difference in advantage of top dog. So that's nothing to laugh about, but not quite what they wanted. I would have liked to see them get the dragon, but unfortunately they just were not in the position to do that.
Yeah, and I'm actually very curious about this. We can see that Nevervote has put 4 points so far into his traps, meaning that his overall Q damage is going to be very low, but he will be able to zone off Jhin and Janna by just laying trap after trap, which really soon he's going to be able to place 5.
Yeah, I really like that choice, actually. I mean, we were just talking about how top dogs are very good at controlling objective, getting the dragons, getting the barons, but we're seeing some damage rate on top lane. Wiki is able to get away. But again, having those extra traps from Nevervote is going to be very convenient for GBG when it comes to controlling objectives.
And we do see that every single person now has their ultimate up, except for CloudXO and Kakar. Actually, no.
Ooh, and Wiki's pretty low in mana. You won't do it. It's trying to go and gets a subjugate, but does not have the follow-up damage or CC. Wiki is able to get away.
I believe there is a bug right now on the spectates showing that Kakarino has his current call off. No, never mind. Now it's back up. Alright, for a second it was showing that it was just being used.
Yeah, it's a very common visual bug. We've seen that before, but I think we can tell when it's being used or not.
Yeah, it's usually pretty easy to tell. I mean, every now and then you do have that person who goes to type something that begins with the letter R and they forget to enter. I know I've had that happen. It's kind of silly when it does.
Press F for a skin, right? Free skin?
No, it's press D to dance.
Oh, right. Yeah, that's what it is. And a lot of damage traded on the turret so far. We have not seen a turret go down yet.
Maybe found in his jungle in just a second. No, he's actually going over towards bot lane. He will not be spotted, but the Gameplay Gophers were spotted by the top dogs. So now they could try and collapse here or just use this pressure to force them away.
Ooh, Potato trying to get some damage on Kyle. Not a good idea, though. Kakarino, Gavin, and Quincy Adams are all their current calls pulled. They're trying to get Potato. Ooh, is able to repel away. He's got 4 men on top of him, but now it looks like top dogs might be in a little bit of trouble. Mantra empowered damage coming in from Varix. Ooh, and both teams look to disengage, but great counterplay by Gameplay Gophers. They looked like they were in a bad spot, but able to get away.
And they only burned 1 flash in order to get away from that safely. Meanwhile, there were 3 ultimates attempted to be used by the top dogs. overall, it looks like the top dogs are very quick to pull the trigger on trying to use whatever they can to get kills. They've just been having a bit of bad luck when executing on this.
Well, I mean, we already talked about how difficult it is to actually execute these kills onto the Ganked by Gophers. Ari's ultimate, very convenient for her to just run away. Potato can just repel anytime he wants to. Wiki as well. I mean, it's difficult to get a pick onto this specific team comp.
And sadly, the easiest person to try and get a pick off is going to be on Varix, which is a support. Not someone you want to really prioritize taking down in fights, but if he's the easiest one to take down, it's really going to be the only option whenever they're going for picks like this, unless if they can make Midget Gutter burn his ultimates and his flash, then you have a good opportunity.
Ooh, flash from Quincy Adams coming in. Everybody else has to burn heal. It still has flash available to him, however, they might be able to get away from this.
Yes, still has flash.
Ooh, unfortunately, they did not have the burst. That's exactly what they were trying to do, get the least mobile lane and focus that. But fortunately, it just did not work. I gotta think that the team might not have been on the same page.
Meanwhile, on the top lane, we see 3 people about to dive. You won't do it, or just force them off the tower and take it for themselves. Looks like he is going to be giving this up. Meanwhile, we do see the top dogs going to be saying, okay, you want that tower? We'll take Dragon. This is an Infernal Dragon. We want this. We will take this. And this will be helping us an extreme amount because we have the Jhin, because we have the Vladimir, and we are going to scale heavily with this.
Yeah, the only hope that Ganked by Gophers has is to maybe get a steal. They do not get it, but they are hopping on You Won't Do It under tower. It's a very tanky Trundle, however, trying to go back in on Wiki. Is able to disengage, and that's 2 turrets for Dragon.
Overall, this is going to be big time in the favor of the Games by Gophers, but when it comes to scaling purposes, as long as the top dogs can prevent any more towers from going down and any more of a lead to be built up, then having this Infernal Dragon is going to be a lot more in the favor of them the later the game goes on. Especially because they have a Jhin who scales incredibly well with any form of AD increase.
Alright, Kyle XL might be getting caught out here by Potato and Midget Gutter. They're trying to get the burst damage in, but You Won't Do It is there for backup. And on the bot side, Gavin taking a lot of damage here from Varix, but he's out of mana. And ultimate's blown.
Can Rhino does have his flash. He could go in.
He could, but a flash in return from Never Vote Yes. Ooh, curtain call is pulled. Is Varix going to be able to get there? Oh! Why did Never Vote Yes not let Varix tank those shots for him? Big mistake coming in there trying to get away, but now more blow straight in the mid lane. Potato's trying to get on You Won't Do It. Kaku lands, gets bursted down. Kill goes to Wiki, but they want more. They go for Kyle.
Does flash.
Flash.
You see that Quincy Adams is going up towards the mid lane now. He is taking out a pink ward, but he should be joining in just a second to hold the lane or try and get a kill over here onto Wiki since he is a bit overextended. He has his ultimate, so it's going to be really risky.
Yeah, and they have to go back in to help Wiki out, potentially, but it might turn in their favor. They're getting damage into Quincy Adams. The charm lands. He's going down. Potato picks up another kill and does not go down to turret.
He didn't even repel right there to save himself. He knew they'd be getting out just fine.
Oh, but Wiki once more goes back in on Kyle. They are not giving top dogs any room to breathe.
He did still have the chrono break, so he knew he could get out safely. However, just going for a bit of harass onto Vladimir who needs to send him back up is not the smartest option, especially if you have to blow your ultimate just to save yourself. So, recognizing that, he left, got out safely, is now going to be resetting, having a Trinity Force, going to be upgrading himself into, looks like he's just getting some boots. What else could we be picking up? Okay, didn't have too much gold.
He does have 5 stacks, however, on the Dark Seal. That's going to be making a big impact if he's able to get the coveted 15 stacks into the Mejai's. It's going to make him very scary. And it looks like the bot lane's trying to get Never Vote Yes, but Varix shows up just in time.
Yeah, and we can see that Gavin actually did not go for the Talisman of Ascension. He did just go for the Eye of the Oasis, I believe. Yes, Eye of the Oasis. So he will have a lot of regenerative properties, especially with his mana and health, making it so that he can just spam shield all day long, as long as he is not being killed. And Wiki's in trouble right now.
I might even be You Won't Do It's in trouble. Wiki's going back in, but Subjugate's pulled. Wiki, he's got to get out of there, but Potato is here for backup. Can they get the damage out? And flashes in, has to chrono break out. Or it does not flash in, rather. He still has that available to him. But more damage right now. Battle Never Vote Yes walks into Kakarino and gets deleted. That's bad news for Varix as well, but more damage right in the mid lane. Midget Gutter's here. It's a 3v3.
He does have his ultimate. He could easily dash in. There's the ultimate from Vladimir.
Yep, and now it looks like the bot lane from Top Dogs is coming in as well. Great Cocoon from Potato prevents Quincy Adams from joining the fight.
This is a 5v4.
Ooh, but now curtain call pulled. It's bad news for Game by Gophers. Potato gets destroyed right there. Wiki's going down next. Kyle Exo picks up that kill, and Trundle preventing Varix from getting under his turret. Are they going to continue to chase? Midget Gutter tried his best to keep Varix alive, and they are successfully able to survive that. Unfortunately, giving over 3 deaths in the process, however.
They may not be able to take any towers with this, though, just because of how low Kyle Exo and Quincy Adams are. And since Midget Gutter is still alive, he is the main source of wave clear from the ganks by Gophers. So he'll easily be able to clean up this wave, as we just saw, and he can now reset that Never Vote Yes is here with a Rune and Hurricane. He can get his mana back and return to lane once he is reset.
That's exactly what we saw Top Dogs trying to do earlier. They wanted to get a kill on bot lane, the easiest one for them to get. It's hard to initiate onto Ahri, Elise, and Echo, but they were able to pick off Never Vote Yes, immediately transition everybody to the mid lane to turn that into a 5v4 team fight. I think it was played fantastically by the Top Dogs, but now here we're seeing again Cucurano try to get aggressive. And if you're noticing here, Kyle Exo opted to not finish Spirit Visage.
He did actually go for the Hextech Protobelt instead, but it's going to offer a lot more damage for the Vladimir, but a little bit less sustain. Right now, it is kind of easy to recognize that with the Morellonomicon, you don't really need the sustain as much, since you know you'll be getting it reduced anyways. And instead just going for survivability as well as extra damage could be a little bit nicer.
Yeah, and we're seeing here a lot of kills put onto Cucurano. He's going to be a big threat, and it's showing because Quincy Adams, again on the bot side, trying to play around where the damage is on the team. That turret is looking very low, however.
This could be going on just a second right after this wave. Actually, no, they're just going to be having literally a Potato tank it so that they can take it themselves, and Wiki is going very aggressive until you won't do it.
Yeah, and Gavin's able to shield the turret, which prevents their dive from being able to actually kill it. Really interesting play from Gank by Gophers, not understanding that Janna has that ability. But it looks like it's still going to go down. They're getting a lot of damage.
Both top laners have the teleport.
Yes, might get deleted right here.
Teleport from you won't do it.
And it looks like a disengage coming in from Gank by Gophers. Can you do it?
Ricky's following up.
Yeah, and Quincy Adams is looking really low. Here. Can he land a charm? Ooh, he's able to jump away. Flash coming out from Cucurano. You won't do it. It's looking very in trouble, though. He's getting bursted down quickly. He goes down as well, and that's going to be turret in the end.
A 2-4-0 with a turret and Ocean Dragon just spawned, so they can now go for that and transition towards the mid lane immediately after, or reset, since they do have 3 members that are all at half health. One of them being Never Vote Yes, who does have the Warlord's Bullet, so he should be able to sustain decently right after this Dragon.
Yeah, I like what they were able to do there. They tried to get that turret quickly. Gavin was able to shield it, but then, I mean, the Top Dogs just really, for some reason, did not want to give up a turret with 100 health left, so they put so many resources into defending that, only to lose it and a couple kills in the process.
Alexo is being shoved away from this tower. They'll be able to really easily put pressure on this, get some damage off this, since there is no wave clear in the mid lane just yet. They do have Gavin there, though, to give a little bit of a shield towards the tower. They do get it. And,
yeah, and
go ahead.
I was just going to say the objective control from Gank by Gopher is fantastic right now. We saw them get those 2 turrets very early on, but after that it seemed like they were a little lost in the water, but now they're getting 2 more, and there's another fight in the mid. That's why Kyle got that protobelt. He wanted to get in. Wiki taking a lot of damage. But Cucurano getting caught out, gets that Caitlyn trap, is able to escape, however, and this Caitlyn's putting out a lot of damage to Brunan's Hurricane, but is it going to be enough? Wiki has a chrono break, but still goes down to Cucurano. Now Never Vote Yes is in trouble. The last shot is enough to get him. A snipe coming in from Cucurano, and this turret is going down.
And with how healthy the rest of the Top Dogs are, they should be able to get the second turret too. They don't have that many minions, but they could easily just have Quincy Adams, or You Won't Do It, tank it until the next wave shows up, which looks like that is going to be what they will do.
And an immediate answer from Top Dogs. They say, hey, Gank by Gophers, you want 2 turrets? Well, you got to trade us 2 turrets in order to do it. And I think that's probably advantage Top Dogs. I mean, they got 2 mid turrets, gives them a lot of pressure, but now Midget Gutter's going in at Cucurano. They stayed a little too long, got greedy, went for the red buff, and now it's over on Midget Gutter. Quincy is able to jump away, however. Varix not able to land that root, but Potato says, I'm not giving up. Can he land the cocoon? It goes in, and Quincy Adams, Flash from Midget Gutter. They're trying to get him. The charm lands, and Potato gets another kill, and an overstay by the Top Dogs. They got a little greedy, try to clear some of that jungle and just pay the price.
So throughout that entire trade, we saw the gold difference go from 4K in favor of the Games by Gophers to an even play right after the towers are taken. But then after those 2 kills again, we are now at a 1.5K gold difference, which Fenris right now is trying to zone You Won't Do It away from the Baron.
Yeah.
Looks like he's going to be just walking back towards the traps for safety. They do have that thick line, making it really hard for them to walk into the Baron pin and deny it.
Yeah, it's very early. They are able to secure the Baron. They didn't have that much damage, but they got it. But now Potato's in trouble. You Won't Do It's right on top of him, but now You Won't Do It a little overextended. He goes down to Never Vote Yes, and Gavin and Kyle are trying to do whatever they can to buy time for Kukurino to make it in here.
He does not have a turn call up, though.
And Ganked by Gophers secure a Baron at 23 minutes. Very impressive play. Ooh, curtain call pulled now. He saw with the ward and Never Vote Yes. Just some happy feet, you know, just dancing a little bit.
Ended up dancing for no real reason, though, because Kukurino mispredicted where Never Vote Yes was going to be going. And while there is this small bit of a lull, unless if Vicky's about to go in here, it doesn't look like he will. During this, let's take a look at some of the items. We do see that Literary Potato and Midget Gutter both picked up the Riley's and a lot of utility to this mid-game fighting that's about to be starting up. Quincy Adams has not even finished his second item yet. He only has the jungle item and a start towards a Trinity Force. You Won't Do It right now. Doesn't have a second item either.
Ooh, and Kyle dove under turret kill going over to the support. Quincy Adams on the backline is able to get anything here. Not likely. This turret does not look healthy. It goes down, and continual push coming in from Ganked by Gophers. And we're looking at Kukurino on the top lane. He's not even prepared to defend this. This could be an inhibitor rather.
He did try and use the curtain call earlier just to pick off Never Vote Yes, so he does not have it. Now the best he could do is to throw down a W, potentially. Since Jen's auto attack range is not that long, and they do have a Elise and an Ahri, it would be very risky to try and defend that.
And Ganked by Gophers, going back to the original strats, run it down mid. It worked in week 4, and now it's working again here against the top dogs. Kukurino just getting a little too greedy, trying to get some of that top farm, and they lose an inhib for it. But now Midget Gutter might get caught out a little bit here. Quincy Adams all battery damage, and You Won't Do It is able to pick up a kill onto Midget Gutter. But Potato looks to be able to escape. A flash in from You Won't Do It, very aggressive onto an Elise. Is it worth it though? Curtain call pulled. Are they going to land any of the slows? Potato might get caught out here. Is able to repel, but now Varix is in damage and taking this curtain call. And Quincy Adams taking so much from Never Vote Yes. Again, Runeance Hurricane on Caleb, but now Never Vote Yes is getting caught out. Gets a kill onto Quincy and is able to survive long enough to also get a kill onto You Won't Do It. And now the top dogs are falling apart. Gavin is able to knock back Potato, and the top dogs clean it up.
And that entire time, Wiki was just in the bot lane, shoving up. He started to teleport, but then, oh, he actually completed it. He's still going.
He is here on Kyle XO. It's going to be a difficult target for him to jump on. I don't know if he actually wants this fight, but he is able to get the burst. Wow.
Force proc with the E does a lot of unexpected damage on Echo, especially because he also had Fervor Battle. And with how many stacks he was able to build up, it was made for a very powerful unexpected burst.
Yeah, what looks like a good play from the top dogs. They're finally able to get some of those picks. Just went to even trade and kills. And, I mean, they're down an inhibitor. They're down 4 turrets. And it's not looking great for them right now. The Ganked by Gophers already passed their average game time, so it's going a little further than what they're used to, what they've been comfortable playing with so far. But definitely looking dominant in this game right now.
Now, with the death of Kyle XO right there is a bit of time for the Ganked by Gophers to set up this dragon, get some good vision around it to make it so that they hold the pressure for it. They could easily try and pick it up, but Kyle XO will be back in time for as it's spawning as they try and take it. They could look to contest, or they could look to chop up the waves just to make it so that it'll be difficult for the Ganked by Gophers to do anything afterwards.
Yeah, Wiki doing a good job just distracting them on the bot lane so that they can't run straight at Dragon. That's a second Drake going to Ganked by Gophers, and Wiki going back in because he knows his team is here to follow up. He's trying to get as much damage as he can. And he's going in on Kyle XO. Not the correct target that he wants to get on. Has to ult away, unfortunately. And now the top dogs are ready. Curtain call pulled. He's landing every shot. Pretty easy. Ooh, last one goes in onto Wiki. Lots of damage. Trundle, unfortunately, does not have the pillar. You Won't Do It. Getting a little too far forward with Quincy Adams. They're tanky, but are they tanky enough? He tries to get in, gets deleted by Wiki. And now Kyle XO's looking low. Charm lands, and another kill over to Ganked by Gophers.
They can
That's a
easily
2
run
for
this
0.
down now. You won't do it. Is trying to get away so he can run out.
Yeah, they're doing their
spotted.
best. Ooh.
The pillar's stopping them, though. There should be an easy turret to take since there was no more wave clear on the side of the top dog. Is the only one up left that could try is going to be Kakarino, but he is backing. He is right now too low to risk it. They're going to be giving up this inner tower and going to have to defend the inhibitor next.
Yeah, and Ganked by Gophers really rotating well here. They got Dragon and said, look, we're not even worried that top lane's pushing into our
Oh,
turret.
they're not even defending the inhibitor turret. They're just defending their Nexus.
Yeah, there's super minions in the base. They really had no other choice. They had to clear those first, and now they can go bot. The turret's down, but to try to re-engage. Ganked by Gophers are a little squishy here. With Quincy Adams taking so much poke. Wiki trying to get in on You Won't Do It. Subjugate comes through. Oh, and Chrono Break back into the fight. Has to flash away over. Potato's now caught out. Kakarino trying to get as much as he can. Propel coming up. He goes over the other side of the wall, but his team unfortunately cannot save him. He does go down. And top dogs do not want to give this up. They need to get some kind of kill here. But Midget gonna go back in. Gets the kill on the Kakarino. And Wiki goes down in the process. Kill going over to Gavin. Woo! And Ganked by Gophers, Midget Gutter with balls of an ox right there, just charging forward. Gets 2 kills in the process, and this is going to be an inhibitor as well.
They should be resetting right after this. They have an entire jungle on their side that they can easily clean up, pick up buffs as they want it, and just work on that top lane since the Baron is spawning again in about 50 seconds. All the minions will be pushed up towards there with the super minions stacking so that they have easy Baron pressure. And it should be free, unless if they simply just play it poorly, which I doubt is a potential at this point.
Yeah, I'm looking at these stats here. Midget Gutter is officially now the player in the tournament so far, I guess. We haven't seen the rest of the 3 games, but with the lowest deaths, he is no longer tied with Kakarino, who has 3 deaths. So that's big bragging rights, you could say, for Midget Gutter here.
Yeah, and overall, we see a Guardian's Angel completed on Wiki, so he'll now be able to dive even harder. Won't have to rely on the corner pick in order to survive. A Random's Omen is completed for Literary Potato, so now he will be taking less damage from the Curtain Call as well as the 4-shot from Jin.
And Literary Potato has to pull over the wall here. Oh, but he doesn't quite get over the wall. It looks like they're going to try to engage. You Won't Do It on the bot side. He has TP, but immediately Gavin just gets deleted. Ooh, gets caught out. He is not a tank. Should be nowhere near the front line. And just bad positioning from the top dogs. It looks like it's going to be a secured Baron here. You Won't Do It has TP available, but you got to think the top dogs don't want this fight. But Wiki trying to just distract them, I think, here. Might actually be able to get some damage. Kyle XO gets way too far forward. Deleted, and Quincy Adams is looking in trouble here. Wiki's able to get the kill on him as well. Kakarino doing a lot in the back, but he gets cut out as well. He has no fuel from the team. You Won't Do It. Lands a cocoon from Potato, and he's going down as well. This is going to be an ace for Ganked by Gophers and potentially the game. They have Baron. They have super minions on the bot wave.
They can easily just have, or they can easily just have Potato tank once minions arrive. And they do have big waves approaching real soon. There is 20 seconds left. They can at least get 1 tower.
Absolutely, and this is looking huge for the Ganked by Gophers. They want to win this fast, and it looks like they're going to get
not
that.
here. It doesn't look like they'll actually be getting any towers. They're just going to be wave clearing. Okay, they will not be looking to end the game here. Blue buff is spawning soon, so they can easily pick that up, or they're going to be pressuring over the top wave immediately. Wiki does have teleport up. He could look to split push or go straight into the base and put pressure there.
Yeah, and we saw Never Vote Yes immediately go, but Gavin's caught out here. Is he going to get deleted again? Unfortunately not. Ganked by Gophers unable to get a 3rd deletion onto Janna. Or 2nd, rather. Ooh, but Wiki's coming in on Kakarino. He has the damage. Kakarino has no peel. And it looks like it's just going to be a disengage, but potentially not. Wiki does not understand how to back up. The only way out is in. Potato getting Quincy Adams. But Never Vote Yes is able to pick up the kill. You Won't Do It doing his best to get damage on the front line. Gavin's trying to ult away Ganked by Gophers, but getting chunked in the process. Midget Gutter trying to flash in. Wiki getting damage, and Never Vote Yes another kill onto You Won't Do It, and this has got to be game. There's super minions. No Nexus turrets.
Everyone's alive. There is no way they can stop this. Everyone alive by the Ganked by Gophers. It's going to be game 1. The game of the week going over to the UMN, Ganked by Gophers. Now the only team within this league that is undefeated, going to have a record of 5-0. Meanwhile, the UMN or the UMD top dogs are going to be now 4-1. They have finally been taken off their throne as tied for number 1. Overall, it was a great game to watch. Very close. Only starting to snowball at the very end. Otherwise, up until about 24 minutes, all gold was equal. Objectives were pretty close as well, aside from towers.
And a fantastic game. We were hyping it up. The 2 undefeated teams, it was our game of the week, and it absolutely delivered. Even when Top Dogs were playing from behind, they still seemed strong. They were trying to do anything they could, but Ganked by Gophers just had overall the better team comp. I think it was so hard to initiate these team fights onto them, and they just played fantastic.
And looking at some of the overall damage dealt by the players here, we can see that Wiki had twice the damage if you won't do it throughout the game. Some of it's going to be during that laning phase since he had a lot of trading back and forth if you won't do it. But we also saw that there were a lot of big diving plays that he was going for. Gained that 1 kill solo against Kyloxo in the mid lane, making it so that they had that dragon pressure as well as the late dives when they're taking over the bot lane. Gained very aggressive using his chrono break at the last second in order to get out alive.
Yeah, 8-4 and 8 stat line on that Echo. I mean, he did not go for the pure tank build. He got Trinity Force into the Mejai's, which was fully stacked, I believe, at the end there. He had Sunfire for a little armor, a lot of health, and then Guardian Angel, which isn't super cost-effective for just the stats. He really had that for the revive potential. So he was going for a very bruiser-heavy build, and it definitely paid off. We saw him make a huge impact, able to outduel You Won't Do It solo, able to jump on the back line and almost just melt Kukurino.
Yes, I think overall, I would like to say for this game that we have the MVP going over to Midget Gutter. Would you agree?
Oh, absolutely. Time and time again, he was able to dive in right when it looked like Ganked by Gophers were going to lose a team fight. He's able to ult and charm up to 3 members of the Top Dogs and completely turn it around, melting Kukurino and Gavin, even doing insane amounts of damage to Kyloxo. I mean, we see his build. He had Morellonomicon and Void Staff along with the Sorcerer Shoe, so he was able to get damage through even on the champions that he wasn't supposed to be damaging.
And we also saw that Midget Gutter was roaming very early throughout the game. He went top lane very early on with Literary Potato in order to get that early tower, but he also was roaming bot lane equally in order to make it so that there was always pressure down there, and even came at some of the key points in order to turn around the fights, as we saw during what would have been a lost 3v4 for the Ganked by Gophers. Once Midget Gutter arrived, he was able to turn around, get the kill onto Quincy Adams, and completely make it so that they could snowball, get a tower, get the dragon, and then get mid lane off of that one roam.
And Quincy Adams, I mean, he's had good weeks in the past, but did not impress on this Vi. 1, 9, and 7 stat line. Second lowest gold on the team. He actually had more farm than Potato, oddly enough, as well as most other lanes. I mean, we're seeing the matchups here. The Top Dogs did a good job of farming, but really they had to farm for the whole game while Ganked by Gophers were constantly taking these objectives.
Yes, and that is going to be doing it for Game 1. Again, that was our game of the week, going over to the UMN Games by Gophers, who are now the only currently undefeated team on this league. They may be going down one of the future weeks. We will see. But now, both of these teams, again, are still guaranteed spots in the playoffs, so it's not like they had anything to really lose, aside from just being moved into a different seed bracket.
Yeah, but now Ganked by Gophers have proven they are the number 1 seed still in the tournament. If they continue this undefeated streak, that will be a very exciting to see a rematch, hopefully, potentially in the playoffs between these two teams again. These seem to be the 2 titans of the tournament so far, but we've yet to see some of the other teams play. There's a lot of room for upsets and a lot of room for comebacks, so I'm excited, and we will be back shortly with some more of those games.
Yeah, the next game up on the list is going to be St. Olaf versus MSU Moorhead Wyverns. Look forward to that. We'll be back in roughly 9 minutes.
emotion that's ever enough, and you can't deny it's real, 'cause there's no deeper
Okay, we are back. So, apparently, there was a mishap with the schedule being delivered to the players of St. Olaf, where on their schedule that they were given, whoever gave it to them mentioned that the game for today was supposed to be at 9, when it is supposed to be at 8 o'clock, in which they were never given the updated schedule. However, we have mentioned many times to keep on tap with the Facebook page, as well as have it where the schedule is pinned up as the main post on that page. So it's the first thing anyone sees if they ever go for it. And I'm going to be discussing it in just a second to see whether or not the people that run the tournaments want to have it where either St. Olaf forfeits for this week and it's just a free win over to the Wyverns, or if it's going to be that we just have like a late game because they will be here. It's just going to be a little late.
Yeah, unfortunately, sometimes scheduling conflicts can arise in these kind of tournaments. There's a lot of different schools all trying to communicate together to create this at the same time, which can lend to a lot of confusion. We're doing our best to work on it, and we'll keep everybody updated as soon as we hear from the officials that will make the decision.
Okay, so messaging the people that are running this tournament, they're just saying going to go ahead and wait. It's just going to be about 5 to 10 minutes for a quick open mid because the players of St. Olaf were in a practice match. And they just did a quick open mid for that match to make it so that now they can kind of end it fast and get into this game.
All right, great way to solve the issue, I suppose.
I do apologize about this, but we will be getting this game started in just a few moments then. Well, not a few moments. It's going to be about 5 minutes. So until then, we can do some more pregame talk about this next match. Overall, for what's going to be happening, this match will decide whether or not the Moorhead or the Wyverns will be able to go away from the kind of loss streak that they've been having, or if they'll be continuing down this path and make it that much more difficult for them to reach the playoffs. Because if they lose this week, they will be 0-5 and have to either win the next 2 weeks and then deal with a tiebreaker, or simply not be able to make the playoffs at all.
Yeah, they're in a really rough spot. This is almost make or break for them. Chances of them making it to playoffs if they lose this game are very slim. They are playing against St. Olaf, which are 1-3. Their only victory coming last week against, I believe, the Saints was the team that they played. And the Wyverns here, they've been having some interesting games, some definite chances and spots of greatness, but unfortunately have not been able to secure a victory. Potentially this is their time. I have faith in them. I think they can do it. All they got to do is ban out that blitz from St. Olaf. We saw it last week. All Greek to me played him and did fantastic roaming. We actually have some interesting blitz stats, which I think now would be a fun time to share. I had our data guy record them all down, and he got some interesting numbers for us. That blitz crank landed 64% of his hooks throughout the entire game. And in the last 6 minutes of the game, he landed 8 out of 8 hooks, which is very, very impressive from that player. We can see why blitzcrank has been banned against him 3 times now. Gotta think, hopefully the Wyverns have done their research and know that's not a champion to give up in pick and ban phase. Either they need to ban it out or pick it first. But over on the side of the waiver, and speaking of picks and bans, I mean, they've had some interesting choices themselves in the past. They unfortunately had to sub in week 3 and week 4. Their substitute top laner, JT Sin, taking over for Modesty. And it looks as if he is also continuing to be their top laner for right now. It's always rough for a team to have to kind of restructure halfway through the split, as it were. We've seen JT Sin play Poppy. We've seen him play Alawi as well. Neither to great success. He didn't do horribly either game, but definitely was wanting in terms of top laners. So we'll see what the Wyverns are able to do around drafting phase. But then looking at the bot lane here, we're seeing the 80 carry Ether Shocked with support the true Harambe, the only one and true Harambe, opting into a lot of those the classic picks. We've seen Lucian play twice, Caitlyn and Jinx, the three most popular outside of Jhin, of course, the three most popular 80 carries of this tournament. But then True Harambe actually bringing in 2 Morganas, which is a very popular champion we've seen this tournament, has very low win rate, unfortunately. I'm looking here at the stats that we have for Morgana. She has been played 6 games, banned once. So that's a 43% pick ban rate, but she has won 0 games, unfortunately.
And
but we are hopping.
Champion select in just a moment now. Let's go see what each team is going to be banning. The first ban is going to be going over to St. Olaf. Let's see what they go for first.
Yeah, and I would not be surprised at all to see a ban on the Lucian. I mean, we've seen it played twice on the side of the Wyverns. They feel pretty comfortable on it, even though they haven't yet had a success with it. They have not picked up a win. It's definitely seemed to be Ether Shocked most played champ. It was banned against in week 1, so he didn't play it then. It wasn't banned last week. He opted into Caitlyn due to matchup, but it's a very strong comfort pick for him.
Yeah, and each team has actually been the 2 teams in this league known so far to have very untraditional picks and bans. The only case being here is that anytime someone plays against St. Olaf, there has been a consistent ban of Blitzcrank against All Greek to me, except for last week, which we saw how well they could punish with that.
Yeah, unfortunately, I don't think we'll see it for the rest of the tournament. I would love to see another Godfist game, but unfortunately, probably not going to happen. We see a Zac ban and a Jhin ban. Now, something interesting about Forsaken Fate is his jungle choices in the past. He's played Gragas, Trundle, Volley, and Sejuani, all very different junglers, and now a Zac banned against him as well. So
they all
interesting,
are fairly tanky choices, though. So not really sure if he's going to be going for something tanky again, or if we may see him go for a high damage dealer or a kind of assassin-focused jungler this time around. My guess is he'll be sticking to something more tanky, especially because from what we've seen, JT Sin and Modsy, the 2 top laners that we've seen played from the side of the Wyverns, like to play people that are more skirmishy, that would split push. And when you have those heavy split pushers, you don't necessarily want to have a high damage dealing jungler. You need someone that has the tankiness, the initiation. But let's see what type of composition they go for this time.
Yeah, you got to think that they banned out Morgana against True Harambe. He's played that twice, but no Lucian ban. So you got to think that they're either planning on maybe picking that up first, or just letting it slip through and giving that up to Ether Shock. Sometimes pick and ban, you just got to let some things go.
I would say they're definitely higher priorities than a Lucian. I think something more along the lines of a jungler or a mid laner right now is going to be higher priority, because we've seen throughout this tournament. And we see a misfortune. Will that be a support misfortune? Or will it be an actual AD carry misfortune? Who knows? It could be a top lane misfortune for all we know. She's gone so many weird roles lately.
Just don't watch Korean streams, kids. They will lead you astray.
Hey, that was world streams. That was not Korean streams. That was a Korean team. That was the world stream.
2 Korean teams. Samsung Galaxy also played it.
Wait, really?
Yeah, they played it into H2K. And we're seeing here a Varus hover actually on the side of the Wyverns. I personally love this champ. I've been playing a lot of it myself recently. He's tricky, but his wave clear is fantastic. He offers a lot of just constant poke coming through. We've seen more people opt into Jace. He has the poke as well as the skirmish ability, but I think Varus is still a very strong choice, and it is locked in along with an Amumu for Forsaken Fate. I believe that is another new jungler for him. He's played a different jungler every single week. Props to that champion pool.
Yeah, not too sure what they're going to be picking for the rest of their team. They could go for another type of... Well, you could see them go for something more like a Sejuani, something that would have a lot of AoE lockdown, just complement this Misfortune, if it is a Misfortune 80 carry. We do also know that Misfortune Sport does do a fair amount of damage with the ultimates. It's just not likely that they go for something like that. They are hovering Kindred, though, who we have only seen go jungle in the most recent times. She has seen some light in the mid lane and bot lane, just not too much due to her low range.
Yeah, and I actually like Forsaken Fate picking Amumu. Just going back to that choice, we saw DeFlube have a lot of success on Amumu last week, the one win that St. Olaf had. So you're looking at the waiver and it's absolutely doing the research. You're saying, look, we're going to ban out Blitzcrank and we're going to pick Amumu so you don't have two of the champions that you use to get a victory. And a Vel'Koz Wukong locked in response.
Ooh, that's going to be a lot of AoE damage coming from that team. They have an AoE knockup from both Vel'Koz and Wukong. They have true damage coming from Vel'Koz, who can get his ultimate off on a lot of people. An immense amount of physical damage coming from the Misfortune ultimates. Plus, Wukong has a natural armor pen within his kit, so that complements the Misfortune even more.
Yeah, and that Wukong, kind of a flex pick even. It could most likely go top, but it's also not the worst jungler in the world, so we haven't yet seen our top lane, but probably because they are hovering in Italy here. And Darius, Janna locked in on the side of the Wyverns. I like the Darius pick into Wukong. It's going to be a lot of damage output in that top lane.
Yeah, but that should be in the favor of Darius if that is a Wukong top, just because Darius has a lot of natural sustain, and overall his trades are a little bit better than Wukong's.
Again, a lot of these matchups, though, do come down to individual player skill. We can talk as much as we want about champion advantages in lane, but when it comes down to some of these teams, there's vast differences. We see a lot of silvers playing with platinums against each other in lane. That can have a big impact on the game. And potentially they are opting for the flex pick, however. It would appear that Sion will be going top with a Thresh support.
Yeah, and I believe this is the first time we've seen Sion outside of the one person known to main him.
Absolutely. We have actually seen the Fighting Saints opt into one game on him, however. Other than that, though, it's just been the Slumdogs.
Yeah.
So I like that pick. I like how they kind of baited out Darius in a way. They said, look, we're going to have Wukong go top lane. There's a lot of counter picks to Wukong. We'll let them pick one. And if they don't, we'll still send Wukong top. But if they do, then we can counter pick their top laner. I definitely like Sion into Darius. I think it's an interesting matchup. It's not entirely one-sided, but I think that it's going to be a lot of fun to watch this unfold here.
And overall, there is a lot of kind of like a crowd control and AoE potential from the side of St. Olaf, just because they have Vel'Koz, MF, Wukong, all with amazing AoE ultimates. And then they also have Sion, who can charge up his Q while everyone else is knocked up to have a follow-up, as well as his ultimate to be a long-range engage. And being a massive tank that can just absorb all the poke damage that will come from Varus and Ezreal. However, the range of the poke damage will allow Ezreal and Varus to kind of ignore Sion, reach around him, and still hit the back line if they can aim it correctly.
Yeah, I really like the team comp coming from the side of St. Olaf. I mean, you already mentioned all those points there, but let's not disregard the side of the Wyverns here yet. I really do like what they have going for them. The only disadvantage I see is there's a lot of AD damage, and we see a huge tank coming in from Sion. Wukong can build tanky. I mean, Thresh is going to be building tanky as well. So it's going to be difficult, I think, for them to win if they let it get to the late game. So they got to be looking to really close this out quick before the St. Olaf is able to pick up too many armor items. But again, I do like this bot lane a lot. We've seen Ezreal and Janna coupled together. It's a very strong lane. Very difficult to get a kill on this lane, especially if you're a jungler coming in. Wukong might have a little more success because of that really incredible ultimate that's able to knock out multiple members. But I mean, Ezreal's able to disengage on his own. Jan is able to knock away any jungler trying to come in. I think the focus has got to be mid lane.
And honestly, the Janna works really well against Wukong, not just because the person playing Janna is named the true Harambe, but also just because having the Monsoon can completely knock away Wukong's entire engage attempt, which is going to be dependent on the timing that each player has, trying to predict one another. Now, you mentioned the high physical damage coming from the side of the Wyverns, but there is also a Mumu who, if they neglect to build any form of magic resist, can simply cry people to death since it is 8% health damage, and you can't just build pure health against that because it'll just do more damage to you then.
Yeah, it's true. You got to think, I mean, Amumu, it's not as popular, but he has an option to build some AP items as well. He can get Leandries if he wants. He can get Rylai's. I actually think that Rylai's is a pretty good item on Amumu, especially if you're trying to get extra AP damage for your team. Probably not going to see a lot of AP build from Janna, but I like the point that you gave there.
So similar to the old Gragas build from last season, you also will see a lot of times Runic Echoes get builds on Mumu early because also it helps with his mana sustain. Since Mumu is a very mana-hungry jungler, most of the time if he can go without his blue, if it somehow gets stolen from him early in the game, he will be starved and barely able to farm throughout his jungle.
Yeah, it's very difficult for him to be able to clear the camps. Also difficult for him to put out enough damage when he's trying to get those ganks. He has a lot of CC, but outside of that, I mean, his damage is lacking if he doesn't have enough mana with him when he goes into lane. So it's going to be interesting to see what Deflube is able to do to maybe try to limit some of that mana pool, try to get some of those jungle invades, maybe even try to gift over a blue to Wolfie Meister. Varus can easily get caught out of lane if he's pushed too far forward. We see he opted to take Ghost, so he's aware of that. He's trying to prepare himself to be able to get away if he needs to. But, I mean, with the Wukong and the Vel'Koz both having that CC in their kits, it's going to be difficult for him to get away post level 6.
Yeah, but once he gets level 6 as well, don't forget, you do have Varus' ultimate that can easily lock down both the targets. And what's really nice about Varus is that the range of his Q is so large, you can kind of farm from your tower and just shoot across the wave. Yes, you'll be using a lot more mana, but most mid lane Varuses will also be building Tear the Goddess, so that actually kind of helps you and makes you want to use your Q more.
Yeah, very true. He's a tricky champ to master, but he can do a lot of damage if he's able to scale well enough into the late game. And we mentioned that they're pretty AD heavy. Varus naturally builds into that armor pen, Yomu's Duskblade build. So I think he's not going to have much issue with those strong armor items coming from the other team. Darius also being able to build Black Cleaver should be able to shred some of that armor for the team. I don't think they're going to have that much issue now that I actually really process it. But overall, we're getting into this game. Fenris, who do you think had the better overall team comp?
I'm going to say St. Olaf this time around just because of the overall team fighting presence that they have with the amount of crowd control and massive AoE burst, so that if they ever catch all 5 members out in one spot, they will be melted heavily.
Absolutely. I mean, all they need to do is land Vel'Koz and Wukong's knockups, Thresh to get in there to provide some CC while Misfortune is unloading her ultimate. It's going to be very difficult. They have a pretty big wombo. But again, I mean, it's going to be hard for them to get onto Varus. It's going to be hard for them to get onto Ezreal. Janna will be able to just knock him away. So it's going to be close here, I think.
Yeah, with the amount of crowd control that the St. Olaf team has, they definitely are going to be knocking up people more than teens on prom night.
Oh my god. How come you get away with those jokes, but anytime I try to say something, you get upset?
I don't get upset. I just judge you because you pulled them off wrong.
Ooh, ouch. All right, let's see what the Twitch chat has to say about that.
If anything, they're probably cringing right now. I could just imagine it.
Yeah, it's okay. All right, and we're seeing here an early potential cheese from St. Olaf going on to the bottom side of the jungle. They will get spotted out, however. Unless they all choose to flash over. I would love to see it, but not likely. Ooh, Forsaken Fate might actually get hooked here. He does get caught out. Is a CC chain there? First blood over to Swagnarok. And Greek to me says, if I don't get Blitz, I'll just take somebody else with the hook.
Yeah, and that is a very early death for the Amumu. Potentially going to be allowing Deflube to try and get an early invade. Looks like he's actually going to be starting the top side of his jungle instead, which could allow Swagnarok and Greek to me to take a camp for themselves, would give them a slight experience advantage in lane, make so they could hit level 2 early, which an early level 2 on a Thresh is incredibly powerful.
And especially with Swagnarok being able to pick up an extra longsword, that's a bonus 10 attack damage. He already has every single auto attack against Aethershack. That's going to be huge for them in lane. I mean, that was a pretty clean invade. I mean, there's not much more to say about that. They moved as a unit, and unfortunately, the Wyverns were not able to react fast enough. Forsaken Fate had flash available. He chose to not flash away from the hook. Thought he could juke it, and that was just a mistake on his part.
Yeah, the only real downside to that invade is now that since Thresh started hook, it's going to be a lot more difficult for him to proc the Targons until he gets level 2. So either he's just simply not going to pick it up. Looks like he still is able to get it. It's just a little more difficult.
Yeah, and again, being very aggressive, trying to land every hook he can to get damage onto Aethershock here, who we've seen seems to be the overall carry for the side of the Wyverns. He's had some pretty good games, even though they have not been able to pick up a win. He's put out the most damage consistently on his team. Seems to be where the team likes to focus their resources.
Which does make a lot of sense since he's been known for playing a lot of the safer carries. I believe you mentioned before how he's played Lucian a few times.
Yep, 2 games Lucian. This is his first game on Ezreal, so we'll see what he's able to do. Maybe he can channel his inner Cucurino. Go without a death this game.
Not too sure if that's going to be happening since it looks like each side is wanting to be fairly aggressive, especially St. Olaf right now. And they do have it where there are early farm leads starting to be built up. You can see it building in the top and bot lane.
Ooh, the point blank hook, but he's not able to get the flay. He waits a little too long, lets Aethershock jump away.
Yeah, I'm just taking a look at the 2 jungle routes that each jungler has taken. You see that Deflube went from top to bot, doing a full clear, and then back in order to pick up the machete. Meanwhile, Forsaken Fate actually did a bottom to top, has not backed yet, making it so that he gets a little bit faster clear, but a riskier clear.
Yeah, we're already seeing this advantage on the bot lane culminating into a very large CS differential at 3 minutes, 50 seconds. Already almost 10 farm ahead and pushed under turret. Aethershock is going to have a difficult time farming here. Especially with all these hooks being landed from Greek to me. Ooh, tries to get Harambe. Interesting choice. Probably try to predict the jump away from Aethershock. And Crazy Man doing a good job of trading damage early, but Wolfie Meister says, hey, look, I can poke 2 into Deflube with an early gank. Gets the flash away from Crazy Man. That's a summoner spell already burned on a very immobile champ.
Yeah, an overall 5-minute cooldown going to be a very long time that Deflube could try and come back to gank again. And as you mentioned before, Vel'Koz already has enough crowd control. Looks like he's actually trying to go in himself.
Yeah, he knows he doesn't have flash. He's saying, I can get all this damage in, and if he burns Ghost, that's 2 summoner spells down. Otherwise, he forces him back to turret. He has to back, and that's going to be a huge CS lead towards Wolfie Meister.
And since Wolfie Meister had that pressure in the mid lane, he was able to allow Deflube to go into the enemy jungle, get some wards and get vision, so that now they can see that Forsaken Fate is overtaking his Gromp. And right now, Faker's going to know that there is no jungler on the top side of the map. He is safe to try and harass as he pleases, which he is now using to shove the wave in as hard as he can. Forsaken Fate is going to be catching the wave in the mid lane to make it so that at least some of the farm gets put to use. Actually, no, looks like he's going to be trying to let it just sit there and freeze for Crazy Man to return to.
Yeah, opting to just get that early Bomby Cinder. He wants to be able to just continually push this wave in. Ooh. Greek to Beast try to land every single one of these hooks, but Swagnark's pretty low on mana. I don't know if this is the time that they want to fight. Ooh, but Aethershock getting really aggressive here, taking a lot of damage, not respecting these level 4 auto attacks from a Thresh.
And that is also a Thunderlord's Decree on Thresh, so it's going to be adding a lot of base damage once he gets a 3rd hit off. Now, just looking at some of the ways that each team seems to be playing, we can see that the bot lane is going to be very aggressive, which signals that they're going to be shoving in a lot. Forsaken Fate is going to be wanting to sit down there. Amumu does have a little bit of a trouble trying to gank into a Thresh, just because there is Lantern and Flay. But if he flanks from behind, it'll be very easy.
And Deflube might get caught out here. Forsaken Fates is able to bandage in, but he has no mana to sustain that damage. We already talked about how that can be an issue for him if he does not have blue buff. And the ultimate coming in for Vel'Koz is able to secure the kill. It looked pretty good at first for the Wyverns, but Forsaken Fate giving over a 2nd death to the St. Olaf team. Ooh, and Wolfie Meister might look to try to go in on Crazy Man. He still does not have flash, misses the knockup. Ooh, unfortunate right there.
Not having the life from Disintegration Ray is really punching right there. It did allow him to get the kill onto Forsaken Fate, but I feel like a flash from Deflube would have gone either way. It's just something that's a bit of more hindsight than anything. And just looking at some of the items across the map, we do see a Trackers Knife picked up by Deflute to make sure we can have more.
And Greek to me, exhausting, opting for the early gank mid. Crazy Man's got to be going down. Auto attacks. The Wet Noodles get the kill to Wolfie Meister. He's now 2-0-1, 100% kill participation on the team. And this is, again, we saw this last week. All Greek to me, fantastic at roaming mid.
Yeah, he did that quite often. There are even times where we saw him on the Blitzcrank roaming to the top lane, just making it so that he can get a huge advantage while there was no real pressure put onto Swagnarok, which it looks like we see that again, partly because Jen is overall champion that has trouble playing aggressive pressure, and he gets a hook.
Ooh, lands a hook. Is she going to go down? Swagnarok unfortunately doesn't have ult, but they do get the flash from the true Harambe. Looks like Harambe is able to dodge a bullet this time.
He will not be dying this game.
And just overall damage traded and summoner spell advantage going again to St. Olaf. They're doing a fantastic job. Even though they're not necessarily getting a kill every time, they're just doing enough pressure to get these summoner spells, which will lead to a kill.
Forsaken Fate is down here, looking to put pressure.
He's level 6. He does have his ultimate, and Greek to me is taking a lot of damage here. Bandage in from Forsaken Fate is able to get the ultimate down. Swagnarok looks to be going down as well. Exhaust burn from Harambe, but it is 2 kills over to Forsaken Fates. Maybe not the one they wanted, but now Right Nut's trying to get away from JT Sin, who's level 7 and has a lot of damage on it, but the Floob is there for backup. Ult in from Right Nut. He's able to get the stun.
Wolfie Meister.
He's in trouble. Wolfie Meister, they're going to get the kill. Right Nut gets the kill.
He at least got there for the assist, making it so that his roam was worthwhile, but the entire time Forsaken Fate and Crazy Man are now going for this Dragon. It's going to be an Ocean Drake, which will really help Varus continue to snack up this tier. Same with the Ezreal, and it's going to very much help Forsaken Fate being able to continue clearing through his jungle since he won't have to worry about mana nearly as much.
Yeah, absolutely. This is a huge dragon for the early game specifically, especially on a jungler like Abumu. He still has blue buff himself, so he's going to have a great time just clearing these camps now. Unfortunately, he's the one with 2 kills. Now, we mentioned that he can build AP, but he's probably not the member of the team that they want to get all the kills to. It would have been nice if Aethershock was able to pick some of those up.
Actually, I'd say the person to get most of the kills in this game should be Crazy Man, just because he has a longer range.
Ooh, but a hook landed on Aethershock with the TP coming down. He burns his flash. Actually, that's already burned, but he burns heal now. And Greek to me is coming in on Aethershock. There's a long cooldowns on the Thresh, but he gets a play. And unfortunately, Aethershock had nowhere to go. But that does mean that JT Sin is able to farm top lane a little bit on his own. Maybe get some damage on this turret.
He will be gaining plenty of damage on the turret since it was a teleport from Right Now a Faker, but is going to allow some damage to go on the bot lane turret. There is a Janna, however, that's going to be stopping most of that damage. And now we can see that Right Now a Faker is making his way back to the top lane. Forsaken Fate is looking to cut him off, potentially get a kill here. If he takes the wrong route, he will be going the safe way straight back to his tower rather than going around. He will be there to defend it. The tower is only about a quarter of the way down, so it barely took any damage.
And I mean, we're seeing that he didn't even fall behind in CS at all. That was a incredible play by Right Nut. He TP'd bot and immediately just went straight back up to top lane. Still ahead in CS. Got an assist on the bot side. Actually, rather, he did not get an assist, but he was able to secure the kill. And a bandage coming in for Forsaken Fates. They're really trying to get an engage here, but Crazy Man's taking so much damage, not Forsaken Fate as well, but JT Sin is able to hop in. And unfortunately, Crazy Man has to get away, but Forsaken Fates goes down now. JT's caught out. He's got no one around him, and a flay coming in from Greek. To me, this is a fantastic CC chain that they have going, but an ultimate from JT is able to pick up the kill, but he gets decimated by Wolfie Meister there. A lot of blows traded, a lot of summoner spells burned as well.
And that entire time, Right Now Faker was like, you know what? You guys got this fight. I'm just going to keep pushing this top lane and go for this tower, which since JT Sin no longer has teleport and he is dead for 10 more seconds, this should be a free first blood tower going over to Right Now Faker, which is going to put him immensely ahead, since now he will be 20 farm and an extra 600 gold from this tower above JT Sin. He will be able to finish the Sunfire Cape, and Ezreal's trying to go in really hard here.
Yeah, they're trying to get damage on Swagnarok. The true Harambe showed up in time to potentially make a play, but unfortunately not quite fast enough. And we're seeing that Aethershock still has yet to complete really a damaging item. He has Tyr and Cole with boots. That's not a lot of damage coming out from him, whereas Swagnarok has a completed Dirk with 2 longswords. There's a lot more with each auto attack. Ooh, great juke.
Yeah, and we actually see that Right Now Faker did not finish that tower. It is incredibly low, though, so the next time that the wave crashes into it, it should be going down. but it does delay gain that extra gold lead just by a little bit.
Yeah, we see Forsaken Fate maybe getting caught out again here. Wolfemeister is there. Is he able to get the damage? Ooh, just misses that angle. Trigonometry not quite there, but Greek to me lands a hook. Opts to not follow up. Wise choice. They saw Crazy Man. They have the pink ward up there. Who? Okay, Crazy Man does go back to take it.
Yeah, they could see it, so it was a little interesting. And we see that Forsaken Fate is going a much tankier build, is not going for the early Runic Echoes, instead going for that Cinderhawk just so he can survive, since he has been having a bit of trouble in this early game. Okay, more than a bit of trouble, but he's been having trouble in this early game.
Yeah, absolutely. Again, he has 2 of the kills from the team, but also 3 of the deaths. Not where you want to be as the jungler, who's supposed to be that tanky initiation. He's supposed to survive till the end of the fight. Unfortunately, he has not been able to do it.
I was actually giving up the top tower for free. It should be going down in just a second. So they're trying to use this time to put pressure in the mid tower, but with the immense amount of wave clear that Wolfemeister has, it shouldn't really get much pressure.
Yeah, definitely questionable decision. Unfortunately, I don't think they really had an answer. That top turret was going down sooner or later, so they opted, hey, let's try to get something else for it instead. But now Forsaken Fate again getting caught out. Flash in with the hook. The flay is there. Flashes over the wall. Fantastic flash from Forsaken Fate. He might be able to get away from this, actually. But right on the Baker ulti, dude. That's a scary Scion. Forsaken Fate's trying to bandage away, and the ultimate coming in from Misfortune is deleting Crazy Man. Forsaken Fate still running away. Gets his ultimate off, but another hook. Unfortunate. He went on a long journey there, tried his best, but does go down in the end, and it looks to be mid-turret.
Yeah, with Crazy Man being down, there's no way they can clear this wave or try to deter the St. Olaf team in any form. I'm saying this turret is going to be theirs, and it's going to make them so that now they are 2 towers ahead and roughly 7,000 gold.
This is a huge advantage on the side of St. Olaf. It definitely seems like, again, they have just not been able to pressure bot lane. At least Aethershock and Harambe have been trying to get these initiations on Swagnarok, but all Greek to me is doing a fantastic job roaming. And now looks to be another skirmish on the bot lane. Janna ults away. I wonder what the team communication was there. And another hook and a flash away from the flay. Summoner Spell burned again, along with Exhaust.
Yeah, this is going to be a very long-term type of fight between both teams. There are 4 members now down in this bot lane from the Wyverns.
Yeah, and you gotta think St. Olaf is gonna get caught out here. Albrecht to me cannot survive the bandage just misses Swagnarok. And no ult burned from Crazy Man. He still has it available if they want to try to dive, but seems like St. Olaf is gonna answer with 2 more members coming into backup. Ooh, and Deflube actually goes in. Crazy Man's caught out. He has nothing. He tries to ult Swagnarok, get the burst damage, but he doesn't quite have it. But Aethershock trying to follow up.
He did also use Ghost there trying to escape and ended up dying either way. That is going to be a 150-second cooldown ability, I believe. Let me just double check. 180. So a 3-minute cooldown. He will not be having it for a while. And with Dragon being up, it's going to make it so that if the side of St. Olaf tries to go for this Dragon, there will not be nearly as much pressure from Crazy Man, so he won't be able to kite as easily. And right now there's also summoners up from both top laners who can easily teleport down if they want to. Looks like neither side is wanting to go for this Dragon.
And Greek to me doing such a good job of constantly getting Deflube in here, constantly getting these picks on enemy champions. I mean, the bot lane's only given up 2 kills now, but landing so many integral hooks this game.
Sadly, Swagnarok did not even get an assist there. The bolt time completely missed. Just barely on edge. Still, though, it leaves Aethershock to be very open to pressure. They can easily zone him off of this wave, force him to lose some farm, get some damage onto this tower, reset, pick up the items that they have with the amount of gold that they've been gaining for the last quite a while now. Right now we see that Aethershock is staying on 2.4k gold.
Ooh, and another hook landed. He gets to play in time, and Aethershock was not having the fast enough reaction time this moment. Finally, Greek to me is able to get the hook that he's been trying this entire game. And opting to give red to Forsaken Fate as opposed to JT Sin. Odd choice there. True Harambe just barely missing that tornado.
Yeah, and we see that from the amount of gold of each AD carry now, they're finished a Manamune on Aethershock and Caulfield's Warhammer is being picked up now for Swagnarok. Overall, it looks like each team is going for fairly tanky junglers, except for Deflube gained a more bruiser style build, with a heavy tank instead being built on Right Now to Faker, having the Fenris Sunfire Cave, Ninja Tabby, and Chain Vest, making it so that he is building an immense amount of armor. Not going to worry too much about any damage coming from Second Fate, but as it can be seen, right now is a little bit insignificant.
Ooh, and a missed hook from Greek to me that would have been a death, but it looks like Drew Abe still caught out. Ult in from Crazy Man. Is he going to get the kill out of Greek to me, rather? Does get the kill. Now, right now, it's trying to get Forsaken Fate. Ooh, has to disengage as the 3v2. But the Wyverns are pretty low. They got to watch out. And Wolfie Meister is no joke how much damage he is putting out.
Yeah, I'm going to be looking at the tower charts damage charts immediately after this game ends, because with the amount of kills participation that Deflube has, he must be doing an immense amount of damage with that Black Cleaver and his ultimates. And it looks like he may be trying to go for Ether Shock here in just a second. However, Forsaken Fate is here to keep pressure over. Will he be trying to still go in and invade into this jungle, or will he be getting caught out?
Yeah, Forsaken Fate trying to get to Flube here. Is able to get on it, but Ether Shock might not have the damage he needs because Swagnarak is right there. So Shrew Harambe, however, are they able to get to Flube? He's a little caught out. Ether Shock trying to get in. Ooh, a flash from the Flube. They're trying to get as much as they can. It's a 2v4, and they are almost winning this. But now Crazy Man's there. He does not have ultimate available, however. Burns Ghost and only gets a 1-for-1.
Vision was trying to come by, but All Greek to me on the side was just saying, no, you are not allowed to go near here, and actually, I'm going to go in for you instead.
Ooh, and the Flay, is he going to land a hook? JT Sin's trying to get onto Wolfie Meister, and the Lantern gets him away. Ooh, JT Sin gets a great flash, but still goes down to Swagnarok, unfortunately. Oh, and the flash hook from Greek to me. Can he get Crazy Man? The damage from the ultimate is quite enough. Right out of Faker, ults, kind of whips it, but then the kill is still going to Swagnarok. And this is a 5-1-4 misfortune.
And it's going to be very powerful in just a moment with that Caulfield's Warhammer that's suggesting that she's going to be going for a Black Cleaver next. Unless it could also be something like a Death Dance, but I'm highly doubting that right now.
It's a questionable build. I don't know if the Black Cleaver is necessary. They already have the Flube with one built. So during these team fights, they're going to have quite enough armor shred as needed, but it's still not a horrible pickup for her. She has been doing a lot of damage solo in the bot lane, which just all Greek to me. So it gives her some of that armor pen for herself.
Now, since Black Cleaver is a stacking passive, it makes it so it would stack twice as fast in these team fights. But it also lets aside the Flip if he ever wants to try and go for a side lane or go for his own type of flank. He doesn't need to be with Misfortune to allow her to do all the damage. She can make her own damage herself.
Yeah, and we're just around the 20-minute mark. Baron is now coming into play. We'll see if any of these teams try to get some early pressure on it.
Yeah, and just taking a look at some of the gold differences between all the teams, we can see that there is overall an 8k gold lead on the side of St. Olaf. When it comes to individual lanes, every single lane is ahead, with the biggest difference going to be between the 80 carries, with Swagnarok being at around 8,000 total gold. Meanwhile, Ether Shock is only at 5,800 total gold.
Yeah, and we're seeing a Lantern turner from Greek to me trying to get JT Sin. Deflube is able to pick up the Lantern, and JT is definitely caught out. He's got to be going down here. Exhaust lands in on him. 1v3, but this is not a Fed Darius. And that's another kill. Almost just gifted over to the side. Saying, oh, like Crazy Man.
And Deflube and All Greek to me are now roaming over towards Amelia. They could try and flank onto Crazy Man, dive him under this tower, get the final blow, and it will be going for that. Can they get it off?
Yeah, no flashes available.
Looks like Crazy Man was able to sniff out the attempted dive and is going to be walking much further back than normal to try and back. Forsaken Fate is going on the side. He is not going to be going this flank cover. He could try. It's very risky.
Yeah, and just another easy turret going over to St. Olaf. They're rotating as a team. They're fighting as a team, and they're making picks as a team. So, I mean, you just got to give them credit for how much roaming they're doing. And another missed hook that would have probably been a kill. And True Harambe flashing over the wall. Might not have been necessary, but Wolfie Meister putting so much pressure on this team right now.
A lot of St. Olaf style right now has been abusing vision. You can see that the entire topside jungle is just lit up with pink wards, and they're using this vision advantage in order to catch people off guard with the host from All Greek to me, as well as the knocks on Deflube and Wolfie Meister like this.
Ooh, the full team is right there, and that's the combo we were talking about, landing every single CC chain with Misfortune's ultimate. That's 3 down on the side of the Wyverns, and St. Olaf is looking to end this quick and fast. It's only 21 minutes in.
Be a Baron or an inhibitor, depending on whichever one they decide to go for. It looks like it's going to be the Baron. That's going to be a lot of damage added onto them, just because they mentioned earlier the Wombo combo is going to be adding 40 AP and 40 AD onto both Ragnarok and Wolfmeister, who can use that little bit of scaling to add an immense amount of damage with the scaling that they have on their ultimates. And this is going to be a huge extra lead for St. Olaf here. It's going to be very hard for the side of Wyverns to try to climb back, but I feel like the best way they can do it now is just to focus on the poke and wave clear they have to deter any type of fighting that St. Olaf wants. And they need to start getting more vision control back onto the side, because we can still see 2 pink wards in the top side of the jungle. And technically speaking, there is still control within the jungle for the Wyverns right now, just because there are no enemies in it. And they need to use this time to clear up as many wards as they can, get vision back so that they can see in their own jungle.
But at the same time, they're just giving up pressure on bot lane. We're seeing St. Olaf easily get Dragon and push this bot with Baron-empowered minions. And it's going to be so long until the Wyverns are able to get JT Sin and Forsaken Fates down here. This is going to be another turret going down. Yeah, they were able to clear some of those wards up top side, but that is not the side that they needed to focus. They got to be able to put their resources where they need to be on the map. Otherwise, this is going to be a game easily going in the favor of St. Olaf. And another hook landed onto Crazy Man. Gets deleted by the Flube right in that strong tank turret. Getting True Harambe and an ultimate coming in from Ragnarok. Shredding all of that health. Giving the kill to Wolfmeister. Securing the kill, rather. It's called a kill secure. And this turret looks to be going down as well. Probably going to be inhibited. Forsaken Fate trying his best to CC the team, but the ultimate coming in from Wolfmeister is just too much. It's 2 more kills going over to the side of St. Olaf. And an inhib right here.
Should be game right here. They do have a full Baron up wave of minions. They have every single person alive. The only person alive right now on the side of Wyverns is going to be JT Sin. He will not be able to defend this. Crazy Man is up. He does have wave clear to his kit, but he is being caught out right now, so they do have a lot of trouble on their hands.
Yeah, and another hook landed from Greek to me. And
right now, figure is really low.
Opting to back. Okay.
They could keep on pushing. It's a little risky. It is much safer going for this option, where since there are big waves stacking in the top and bot lane now, they could easily just push mid. Have right now if I could go in top lane to do a 1-4-0 split, which would put an immense amount of pressure on all sides of the base. And since there's only one wave clear champion on the side of the Wyverns, being Crazy Man on Varus, he has to go to one spot, which will make it so that wherever he isn't, can easily get pressure.
Yeah, and even then, that wave clear does not do much against Baron-empowered minions. And if Ether Shocked, he does choose to burn. Oh, yeah, he's getting a lot of damage put on it, but he is still pretty tanky, still pretty fast. The Flube might have bit off a little more than he can chew. Doesn't see that the full team is behind there.
He decided not to use his Cyclone.
Oh, and another hook landed onto True Harambe, way too far forward, not where he needs to be at all. And another Vel'Koz ult coming in, burning flashes, burning heals, and now Forsaken Fate's got to get away, but Ether Shock gets hit by another hook and gets deleted by Swagnarok, who's now trying to focus down Crazy Man, who's going to have to just try to defend under this one last Nexus turret with Baron and
now there will be super minions coming into the enemy base in just a second with this next wave in the bot lane. There is already one super minion in the base. They will be catching on Forsaken Fate.
Yeah, and another just chain CC with the ultimates that they need. Swagnarok putting so much damage on this Misfortune. This is not a Misfortune support.
This will be the end of game 2. Going over to the side of St. Olaf, they are going to be winning against the MSU Moorhead Wyverns, now making it so that the Wyverns are 0-5. So now their only way to claw back into the playoffs is if they can miraculously win the next 2 games that they have for the upcoming weeks and be able to break a tiebreaker.
Yeah, and there's a lot of just interesting misplays. I mean, we credited All Greek to me last week for how many times he roamed mid, how many times he roamed top, left his lane, with Swagnarok still being able to survive, picking up kills and assists, and he did it again this game. And unfortunately, I mean, the Wyverns just didn't pick a comp that could really punish Swagnarok for being alone in lane. They have Ezreal, which is very good in that situation, but then Janna, just seemed a little lacking. She's a very defensive support. She can't really initiate that well. And they kept trying to have her be more far forward, trying to land those tornadoes, but then that just let her get hit by all of those hooks and let DeFlug just immediately jump out of her constantly. And I mean, dying 4 times as a Janna support is not what you want to do.
Now, taking a look at some of the damage charts, we can see that Wolfie Meister and Spagnrock were able to put out immense amounts of damage. As we mentioned, the Wombo combo of St. Olaf was immense and something to not disrespect, which there were twice. So we saw those Wombo combos be put to use, and this damage chart shows how scary that is. With a full ultimate from Spagnrock and a full ultimate from Wolfie Meister, there's going to be a high amount of true damage and armor shred being dealt onto the enemy team in a full area of effects type of wave. So there is no way that they can really brush it off. They need to either deal with it head on or work around it.
Yeah, and what's interesting here is that the Moorhead actually was able to secure their first dragon of the entire tournament. Now that is not great for them. They did pick up one, but still they're really lacking in objective control. They're lacking in their individual lanes. I mean, we see here JT Sin going 1-6-0 on Darius. He kept getting caught out. DeFlug was doing a fantastic job of roaming top, getting all those successful ganks, and also picking up the kills, which is where they wanted them. They wanted Wukong to be able to get those kills and Sion to just kind of be that tanky top lane support almost.
There was also the heavy disrespect when it comes to the roaming potential of Thresh and All Greek to me, just because we saw him go mid lane again. We saw him with that early invade that caught a Mumu, and that disrespect for the power of the roaming potential on support such as Thresh and Blitzcrank has been what's allowed St. Olaf to secure the wins in the last 2 weeks.
Yeah, definitely. I think that the play of the game, or player of the game rather, I mean, Swaggernock putting on massive damage, Wolfie Meister massive damage, DeFlug having a great stat line, but I still think it could potentially go to All Greek to me, doing so much damage with, or like landing all those hooks, landing all that CC to guarantee damage coming in from his team really helped out, plus the roaming potential. And I mean, again, it just turned into him constantly leaving lane and getting the rest of his team ahead.
All right, and we will be stopping for the pregame talk, or for postgame talk over here. We'll be taking a 5-minute break and then coming back to do pregame analysis for the next game, which is going to be the UMD Slumdogs versus the CSS Saints. We'll be seeing you guys in about 5 minutes. Until then, stay tuned.
time comes, be ready. Don't you hesitate. There's nobody left in the world who could ever shake my faith. Holding me back, holding this back, don't you see? You can count on me, put it down on me, 'cause now it's all on me.
Okay, and we are back. We are going to be getting ready and starting up game number 3 in just a moment. It's going to be between the CSS Saints and the UMD Slumdog Millionaires.
Not millionaires yet.
I want them to be millionaires.
Only 1 and 3 in the standings, but again, so
There's no
the
$1
Saints.
million prize though.
There is. Oh wait, what? I thought Riot was sponsoring this one.
Hell no, Riot doesn't even pay their players $1 million. Riot doesn't pay their players anything.
Maybe they don't pay you. I don't know.
I'm not a player.
This isn't the time to talk about caster contracts, but this is the time.
I'm talking about player contracts. Have you never seen Trindamir's post about, oh, I love me some Reggie?
Yes, I actually have.
Yeah, that was a big controversy, man. All right,
It
but
was.
either way, let's get into some pregame talk about this next match. That's going to be the Saints versus the Slumdogs. And one thing I would like to point out to start, the Saints are the only team to have ever lost when they've taken Barons. And actually, 2 of the 3 Barons they've ever taken, they've lost a game then.
Ooh, that is not what's supposed to happen, but it can happen, especially when you look at the teams they've played against in the past. They have not been easy teams necessarily according to the standings right now. But again, they're playing against UMD's B team, the Slumdogs, who are ready to go, as are the Saints. So let's get into this pick and ban. I'm excited about this. These are 2 teams that are equal in rankings right now, both 1 and 3. So whichever one wins here is going to have just that much more comfort and safety to kind of secure that playoff spot.
Yeah, and each team also has fairly similar looking stats when it comes to both kill participation and KDA. We have it where some people are just above the 1, like somewhere between 1 and 3. No one really too high in that area. And everyone for kill participation is hovering right around that 60% area.
And the Aatrox ban.
Aatrox.
Just that target ban on Flawed, you know. We've heard legend.
Not the right champion to target ban last I checked. I mean, I'm pretty sure he plays Scion, not Aatrox.
You know what? I mean, it's
Are they just
players
doing the
have white
triple
champions.
A's?
Oh, it could be. They let's see if Akali's next.
Yeah. Who knows? Maybe the Slumdogs are going to be catching on and banning Akali. No, okay.
Ooh.
So it is actually like legit bans that they're going for. I'm just really curious about why the Aatrox.
Yeah, it's interesting. Perhaps they know something that we don't as casters. Maybe Flawed has been playing a lot of Aatrox in solo queue or dynamic queue lately. But I like the ban so far coming from the side of the Slumdogs. Elise has been a very strong jungler so far this tournament. She's very good at pressuring lanes. Same with Rek'Sai, so 2 very good bans there. LeBlanc is interesting, but I think still has a good, strong argument for her.
One thing I just realized. The most banned people against Boosted have been Twisted Fate and Victor. Both of them are up right now, so I'm really curious as to which one he is going to opt for. We saw before that when both champions were open, he opted for Victor. Let's see if he decides to pick Twisted Fate this time around.
Yeah, I think it's very matchup dependent, also dependent on how they want to structure the team. Victor really good at just pushing lanes constantly into turrets. whereas TF is really good with that global pressure, really good at roaming top and bot lane. But they do lock in a Karma. Doesn't necessarily mean a mid lane Karma. Could be flex support. We saw that earlier today. So some pretty good success.
Ooh, we have the Caitlyn locked in for Snacky. But, as I was going to mention, neither Boosted nor Xyx have played Karma so far. Xyx has mostly been playing the tanky supports, being Brawl Alistar. He also had one Morgana game they did fairly good on, which actually Morgana is still open, and that was banned against him once.
Yeah, we're still seeing, unfortunately, though, Morgana with that 0% win rate and an Ivern locked in on the side.
This should be the
of
first
the Saints.
Ivern we see within this tournament, I believe.
Absolutely.
Also a Zed. I do not remember ever seeing a Zed in this tournament either. Two completely new champions within these games.
And that must be a Rise top lane then. Interesting
it could be Rise support. Actually, well, it could be a Ivern support. I have seen a lot of that.
Let's assume it's a Rise top lane. I like it more there if they're going to choose Zed in the mid lane. They have an AP on the top, an AD in the mid. Rise's ultimate, with that change happening, is really good at pushing other lanes. Typically better in the mid lane because he can choose to go bot if he wants to.
Actually, Fizz locked in for Boosted despite having both Victor and Twist of Fate open for him.
Interesting choice there. We are seeing, though, that the one victory that they have had, that some dogs have been able to secure, was with a...
That's an Urgot lock-in.
That's...
Okay, I am not sure what's going on with this pick band anymore. I am done. I'm tempted to walk away, but, you know...
Please, God, let it be an Ivern support. I want to see it. I think everybody wants to see it.
The Ivern Urgot combo?
It's going to be in the LCS, I guarantee it. If Misfortune can support, then Urgot can AD carry. That's the logic that I follow.
I mean... They could go for the old... Oh, please tell me this is not going to be a Teemo lock-in. It's a Teemo lock-in! What is going on?
And the Saints are definitely mixing things up for this week.
What the hell? Okay, screw the game that was between the two top teams of the top dogs and the GameSpy Gophers. This is now our top team, or this is now going to be our top game, and I am hoping
it's an Ivern support
and a Rise jungle. I'm hoping that this is how it's gonna stay. I am hoping this is how it's gonna stay. People, go out there. Please go on social media. Get this game known. We have to get it shown. This is an official league that is having an Urgot ADC and what Teemo ADC, whatever the hell is going on here.
I think they're probably just trolling us a little bit here. I would love to see Ivern support, but I don't expect it. I would doubt if that's what they actually lock in, but man, would that be a treat.
It is an Ivern support. They are having it held to the last second now. They could do a last second swap. Doubt that's going to be happening, but we do have 3 minutes to discuss what the hell is going on for these team plans.
Okay. Definitely let's start on the side of the Slum Dogs. They're a little easier to talk about having an actual normal, I guess you could say, team. Not to discredit the Saints in any way, but talking on the side of the Slum Dogs, they pick up side for iFlawed. He's been very popular in this tournament already. Erwini's able to play Shyvana again. I believe that the last time that they won, or rather, no, last week they did lose, but Shyvana had a huge impact on the game. Erwini was able to get ahead and out pressure the enemy jungler a lot on this champion. So it seems like they have a lot of really good comfort picks on that side. What do you think of their overall lane advantages here?
I'd say lane advantages is going to be, top lane is going to be towards Puff Boy, just because Teemo has that ranged poke and easily harass Sign out of the way. However, once Sign gets a Spirit Visage or even just a Spectre's Cowl plus some points into his W, he's going to be able to easily take that harass. For jungle, I want to say Shyvana just because she's a better duelist. However, Rise does have his point clicks roots that can easily keep Shyvana at bay. But for ganking power, they're sort of equal because Rise doesn't have that much range to his. Plus, the early game he is going to have a bit of a slower clear as well as weaker damage overall. but the scaling of each champion is going to be very powerful, just in separate ways. You can't really compare them. Mid lane, it's going to be in a one-on-one. I'd say it's going to be towards Zed, just because Fizz is so weak as a champion overall right now. He doesn't have that much power. But Fizz is still one of those champions that if he can roam and get a good snowball, he can kind of take over. It's just much more difficult to pull that off. So
it's always an interesting matchup to see there as well, because both of them, the ability to dodge each other's ultimates makes it very hard for either one to get an advantage in that 1v1 lane. I do like Zed typically more just for that damage over time ability. He's just able to output more damage consistently.
yeah, and one thing to consider about the whole dodging each other's ultimates, Fizz is on a much lower cooldown for his ability to dodge. However, if there's ever a type of tether ability, such as Urgot's ultimates, that doesn't technically get dodged. It continues on to the chain. Now, honestly, I'm going to say the full team composition is obviously going to go to the side of these Slumdogs because they have a more well-rounded team. But I just really want to see what the idea of this team comp is for the side of the Saints. I'm not really sure if they're just trying to troll and have fun or if they're going to be seriously working around this comp in some sort of way. I just want to see what they have planned.
Well, what's interesting when we talk about Ivern support specifically is when you think of the AD carries that are good with him, the top ones are typically Vayne and honestly Urgot. I think that there is a lot of synergy between those two champs. Urgot doesn't mind necessarily kind of getting up close and personal against the enemy AD carry. So if Ivern's able to land that route, Urgot jumping immediately on top of him isn't necessarily the worst thing in the world. Typically, he will handle better close range than a Caitlyn will. So I actually kind of like the bot lane synergy here on the side of the Saints. But the Ryze jungle, I think, is going to be where we'll see a lot of the weakness coming through from the team comp. Never thought I would have to say those words in this tournament. But his clear in the jungle is just not going to be fast enough, I don't think. His gank potential is actually very high, though, once he is level 6.
Ryze jungle does have a fairly decent clear just because the way that his E and his Q interact. It's just a little more difficult to try and set up. Now, I really want to try and just kind of watch for what the plan behind the bot lane is. I'm also curious what you mean by Ivern and Urgot having synergy in the bot lane, because I don't really see that. Yes, Ivern can help close the gap, but Urgot isn't about closing the gap. Urgot's about actually winding the gap, making it so that he can land his E and then just poke from a range.
I was more mentioning specifically into the matchup with the Caitlyn. She will not do nearly as well up close and personal as Urgot would if they are directly on top of each other, typically.
Yeah, but you also have to think of this. Caitlyn has bush interactions, so anytime Ivern wants to make a bush in the bot lane, if they're able to push up on the side of the Slumdogs, they could just take advantage of that bush that's already there and just use it to stack Caitlyn's passive.
And we're seeing some interesting rotations from each team here. It looks like the Saints might actually get caught out in a weird place. They were just trying to get some wards together, and now they have the entire enemy team waiting for them. They understand that Ivern just wants to get that initial camp on the bot side, and unfortunately that is not a successful invade.
Nothing really accomplished here. They're just going to be going back into their areas and getting some early jungle clears. Now, it looks like Ryze is going to be starting with the blue buff, which will be nice for early clear just because he would be really mana hungry otherwise, but overall, as we've been seeing before, the whole issue of being mana hungry was never an issue for the other people. And I kind of want to see if the Shyvana will try to counter jungle Ryze or just farm up her own jungle instead and say, you know what? I don't really know how a Ryze will play against this, so I'm just going to respect it.
Yeah, it's not a jungle matchup that I could imagine many junglers are very accustomed to. It has not seen that much popularity. And we're seeing again here how Teemo is able to outrange Sion, but sometimes Sion can land a couple of those knockups.
And we actually do see him using the early damage that he has in order to just get some harass off on the Teemo. Also, the minions dealing damage back to him. And I'm mostly just watching this bot lane right now, just to kind of see what they're gonna try to do here.
And a lot of blows traded mid. Boosted actually getting bursted pretty low. No summoner spells blown, and Irwini opting to make an early back from the jungle. He did the exact same thing last week with Shyvana specifically.
Picking up the boots. It'll make it so that you can run from one spot to another and not really have to use your W to get a faster movement around the map. But it doesn't really add anything to your clear itself. It just makes your movement faster.
Yeah, is able to reset that health, however, and Demolisher doing a pretty good job. He unfortunately doesn't have as much farm still as Irwini, but Puffboy forced to flash away from Flawed there.
He almost got the kill. If he was actually able to do a quick flash under tower and pop off his W, it would have killed. However, he was slightly out of range to try and go for a play like that. And we do see that Winged Cow is being harassed quite heavily by this Karma Caitlyn.
Yeah, this is where just the range of a Karma Caitlyn combo can be ridiculous for an Urgot to deal with. But Raw Dog doing a lot of damage to Zayax, but taking a lot in return. Ooh, heal popped by Winged Cow. Flash from Zayax, trying to get aggressive. Seeing if they can get that damage, but now Winged Cow, ooh! Snacky with a reverse flash on accident, and
Ultimatum gained the flash, ignite, and auto attack onto boosted.
But Irwini is there to clean up the kill. Demolisher trying to save him though. Is he going to be able to get it? Doing lots of damage to Irwini. It's a battle of the jugglers, and Irwini's got to be going down here. But he does pick up a kill right before he goes down
last
himself.
tick of damage. Barely gained it in, actually. Demolisher showing up at just the perfect moment. If Irwini was able to just run right by, then he would have been able to secure the kill. However, it just made it slightly difficult for Demolisher showing up with the root to save Ultimatum.
Yeah, and again, bringing it back to that bot lane. Interesting flash from Snacky. He was trying to flash forward in order to get Raw Dog, but looked like he flashed into the wall a little bit. Must have just had a misclick there with his mouse. It happens every now and then, even to the best of us.
Yeah, and I'm kind of curious to see what's going to be happening from this point forward now that Irwini and Demolisher both have killed each other. Ultimatum is now double the farmer boosted and is a kill up, so we should have a huge lane advantage. We do see the Hex Ranger already picked up, going to make it so that he has an immense amount of trade pressure within the mid lane now. And even if he decides to roam, he should be able to take care of Scion pretty easily just because he doesn't have to worry about the magic damage coming from him.
Yeah, and it looks like Boosted is going the typical... Ooh, but a flash in from Demolisher gets the root. Unfortunately, that is a Fizz they're trying to jump on, but Irwini might get caught out a little bit in the process. And that Alvis Nox flash. They're still not in Worlds. I know, I'm in denial too.
Well, we are already at the final games for Worlds that'll be coming up this weekend, and just taking a look at some items, we see that both Wayne Count and Demolisher have been picking up their Tier of the Goddess. We also see that Irwini is going to be going for the Devourer this game rather than a tankier build. It's going to be much more of a skirmisher type of Shyvana, which will work really nicely seeing as there is the exhaust. However, there's only really one champion that will get really affected by the exhaust when it comes to the side of these Saints, and that is going to be Ultimatum whenever he goes alt in.
Yeah, and Winged Cow taking some damage. Exhaust goes in, so that's Summoner Spell down for Zayax, and they were not able to get the kill. That's where Ivor and support actually can be very advantageous, just dropping that bush on top of your AD carry if he's taking too much damage.
Yeah, it does make it where there is a few seconds of visibility still within there, though, so you kind of have to place it in advance, expecting the harass to come out.
Ooh, and Demolisher is topside. Flawed might get caught out here. The stun lands, and he's trying to go in on Puffboy, knowing he's going to die. Unfortunately, he still goes down in the passive. Might be able to actually get Demolisher here. Is he able to get the damage? Ooh, Puffboy barely able to keep him alive. Now Ultimatum's in a little bit of trouble. Boosted's jumping in. He does not have any summoner spells available to him, and the Hex Drinker does go off, but Irwini's there. Has ultimate available, does not pop it yet, but is he going to get the exhaust? He gets the exhaust onto Ultimatum.
There's no flash on Ultimatum. He will be going down.
This has got to be unless Raw Dog is there to get the shield on him. But now Zayax and Snacky are both here. Snacky doesn't have level 6, so he can't get the ace in the hole, but Raw Dog giving up his life for the mid laner. What a good support, but maybe not. Zayax trying to get that mantra-empowered damage. And ultimatum with the disrespect.
Coming to make it so he can rush over to the lane. Not having a teleport, not having an ultimate, so now there is no way for Flawed to try and rush over to help any lane that is in trouble. But since Puffboy is down his ultimate as well, he will be able to shove in this wave top really heavily, get some minion differential between him and Puffboy, so he can get a tiny bit of a lead wherever he can.
Yeah, definitely. We're seeing again a big CS differential between Puffboy and Flawed. I mean, that's really not what Teemo wants into Sion matchup. We already talked how he's definitely going to be falling off once Sion is able to get the Spectre's Cowl into Spirit Visage. And Puffboy is opting to do the AP build instead of an on-hit, more tanky Teemo build, which we have seen a few times, or I have seen rather, in solo queue. And Arwini might go down to this grab. Does he have it? Oh, he gets executed. Player of the game going to grab, but now Zach's going to Winged Cow. He's all alone. Raw Dog is coming in, might be able to get that shield out of him, and now Zayax could be in a little bit of trouble. Wing Cow is not level 6 yet, however, and Snacky can see him in that bush. He has Ace in the hole, but Raw Dog is able to take that for him. But now they're on the retreat, and no deaths. But that was Summoner Spell blown by Winged Cow. He did activate Heal.
Yeah, and that heal going down is going to be a big advantage over to the side of the Slumdogs. Now they can easily use their range advantage to poke them out. Since there is no heal, they can try for an all-in using the roots from Karma. But it looks like they're just going to be farming instead. They do have a 20 farm differential in the bot lane right now, so they could easily just say, you know what? I'm fine saying that I have more farm than you, and I'll just keep it how it is.
Yeah, and these junglers meeting and skirmishing a bit in the top, but Ultimatum's there to back up Demolisher, but it's a 3v2. Demolisher might get caught out here. He does have flash available to him, and Boosted has to jump away, but Demolisher's ultimate, doesn't quite go off in time. Can Ultimatum pick up a kill?
Have exhaust.
Is he able to he gets Ignite, gets the kill. Does not have any Summoner spells, unfortunately. Again, this is the second time we've seen this in Arwini. This is exactly what Shyvana loves to do.
Oh, I'm sorry. Boosted actually had a few seconds left until his exhaust was back up. My bad. I thought I saw it was up on the icon.
It's all good.
Now, it looks like Flawed is going to be trying to push in. He does not have any mana, though, so his wave clear is going to be a lot weaker than usual, especially since he is against a Teemo, so now he will not have any form of natural wave clear from a Bombi Cinder.
Yeah, we're seeing this Teemo actually being able to poke him down a bit, has flash available, could potentially get a little aggressive. Flawed does not have his flash, but
and now this tower should be going down over to Snacky.
Ooh, and the ace in the hole gets the kill, and the Wing Cow flashes away from the turret. Exhaust goes in on Raw Dog, and he has to flash away as well. This turret has to be going down soon.
Only issue is, though, is the fact that since Snacky opted to kill Wayne Cow instead, they do not know where Demolisher is, and now he is down the bot lane. He has a lot of wave clear, so he can easily clear this wave. If they took the time to just simply kill the tower and ignore Wayne Cow, they would have had that tower and gotten more gold and more global pressure. But it looks like they're actually able to shove Demolisher away from the tower and could potentially still pick it up.
But now we're looking at top lane. Flawed getting in on Puffboy, has to flash away, but Flawed is taking a lot of damage from Shrooms. And now on the bot lane, unfortunately, Raw Dog goes down to Snacky, who is now 3-0 on this Caitlyn. And Puffboy, can he get the kill on the Flood? And that Bombi Cinder actually comes through and gets the kill. And now Demolisher flashes in, gets the kill on to Snacky. Can he follow up with anything more? Zayax is a little caught out. Ultimatum, they opt to not go in on Boosted, and Winged Cow gets the kill.
Yeah, and overall, Flawed right now still has a lot of mana. He could stay and continue pushing up the wave since he knows every single person is in the bot lane. Puffboy does not have a teleport, and he still has 5 seconds until even respawn. So you get a lot of damage in this tower, potentially go for a second one for his team. They do have a tower and a Dragon advantage already. They'll make it so that the global gold that they have will be around a 2,000 gold advantage. But it looks like the Demolisher is actually going to go straight to the mid lane and go for a pick here on Boosted.
Yeah, they might actually be able to get it. Is able to jump away. They did not have, unfortunately, Ultimatum's damage quite ready to get that kill.
Slightly out of range for his ultimate. Also, if he did try to proc the death mark while Boosted was in the playful trickster, he would have been starting the fight underneath the tower, which would be very serious for Ultimatum.
But definitely, we're looking at this interesting build path for Flawed on the top lane. He's opting Negatron Cloak, Bombi Cinder, and Fiendish Codex.
It looks like he's going to be building an Abyssal Scepter, if anything, which Sion does have some AP scaling both of his WSC. He's actually going really hard onto Puffboy here. He has his Q.
Irwini's up there as well, trying to get damage. Actually, he's able to burst him down pretty quickly if Puffboy
can see him because of the Wolf Smite. So they know he is there, and he can no longer put any pressure. And knowing that he's at the top side, they will be expecting him to join mid real soon.
Ooh, Raw Dog taking a lot of turret shots, but Irwini getting caught out by Ultimatum and Demolisher, but now Ultimatum taking some turret shots as well as Fizz's ultimate, but they do secure a kill onto Irwini.
Only problem is that they left Puffboy alone. He is incredibly low. He only has 100 health left. He's going down, and this will be a lot of damage into this tower. Now Puffboy still does not have a teleport, and it's 20 seconds until he will respawn. And because of that big super set happened in the mid lane, there's no longer any pressure that they have to push forward. So there should be a free tower over in the top lane, which will just be an immense amount of pressure given over, since he'll open up the map and allow Flawed to just roam around with his team. Yeah,
a lot of map pressure coming in from the side of the Slumdogs. They have top turret and bot turret taken now. Trying to potentially siege this mid. They've opted for the 1-3-1, it would appear. Snacking Zayax comfortable in this mid lane. Just trying to whittle down this turret. And we're seeing again here a lot of interesting lane matchups. I mean, Sion so far ahead of Teemo. Flawed doing a fantastic job with 3 kills. And such a big CS advantage as well. He did get the Abyssal Scepter. And then this the mid lane is the only really shining light on this side of the Saints. Sorry about that. The side of the Saints. Zed is very far ahead of boosted on Fizz. He can win the 1v1, I believe, especially with all this pressure that Demolisher has been giving, so he doesn't even have to try the 1v1.
One big thing to remember, though, is that the moment boosted finishes that Zonia's Hourglass, you'll be having a lot more lane pressure against Zed, just because Zonia's can basically negate the entire death mark, since you can make yourself vulnerable during the time. And
Rob Dog getting caught out, ace in the hole, 2 ultimates burn, but they secure the kill, and also pick up a dragon in the process.
An ultimatum is still near the rebuff. Gets seen, he could be caught out here. Instead, they are going towards Demolisher.
And ultimatum's got to get over that wall. He's able to jump it. Zayak's getting a little chunked, and Flawed, he's tanky enough. He doesn't have to worry about it.
I'm not sure if you should say tanky when he has an Abyssal Scepter of all things as a first finished item. Granted, they do have 2 forms of magic damage between both in the top lane and the jungler, the 2 lanes that he has had to deal with so far. So it is nice. I just feel like something like a Spear Visage would have been much better.
Yeah, interesting build choice, but I mean, it has been working for him specifically against Puffboy on the Teemo. He's been able to do a lot of damage with that extra AP as well as a bombing scimitar. Seems like he's going to finish the Sunfire Cave next item.
Potentially, he may be going for a second tier boost to make it so he can roam around the map more now that the top tower is down, and there's less that he can try and go for objective-wise. But he could just sit there, make sure that Puffboy has to stay in the lane with him and keep farming it out, since he is 30 farm ahead and he could just try and wind the gap. But
yeah, now it seems like it's going to be Flawed versus Ultimatum in the mid lane. Slumdog's doing a very interesting comp here, but Demolisher is able to...
Flawed.
Yeah, a lot of CC landed, but he's got a lot of health stats as well. And Ultimatum taking so much damage. Deathmark is popped, but he goes down, and Irwini joins the fight with Zayak. Demolisher did not expect that. Is not able to flash over the wall.
Flash and into goes the down. Wall. The faceplant by Rise.
And a great rotation overall by the Slumdogs. They were pushing bot, but then saw, hey, let's just go mid, get that turret. And Ivern doing his best. He said, hey, you can't hurt the turret if you're in a bush, right? You know, you're not supposed to be there.
Yeah, true. Now, we do see that Flawed just rotate over to the top lane. He is fairly low, but with how much he is ahead of Puffboy, being 3 levels and almost a full item at this point, he should have a large enough advantage that still being half health will not make a difference.
Yeah, and we're seeing they're still able to maybe defend this turret. Seems to go down to minions. Ooh, again.
That's now 3 turrets and 2 dragons over to the side of these Slumdogs. And Flawed being slightly harassed here, but he still has his shield up and can easily just say, you know what, I'm going to ignore what you throw at me.
As well as Irwini on the top side with Zayax rotating too. Puffboy might have bit off a little more than he could chew. He's trying to get as much damage as he can. He might be able to get it. Ooh, but there's a lot of minions.
Ooh, those minions hurt him down. Off? No, it won't. He's able to drop their aggro just by getting past the tower. But Flawed will have his ultimate up soon. He could try and go for a really risky dive.
That would be incredibly risky, and we see Demolisher ult. Ooh, is not. Oh, gets the flash. He was trying to use ult so that he could jump over the wall, but it accidentally just smacks into it instead. Is able to escape, however, with that flash.
Yeah, I was able to trade a flash and an ultimate for Rise's ultimate, which I'd say overall, Rise's ultimate is big enough that the advantage is over to the Slumdogs, but I'm not too sure what they will be wanting to do on the side of the Saints in order to come back into this game. The best thing they could do is try to use Zed to try and roam around, and especially focus Snacky with how far ahead he is. If you can get a quick shutdown, that would be massive.
Yeah, I like what they're doing, sending Ultimatum bot lane. He's the only one that can really, or he and Demolisher rather, the only ones that can really put out a lot of damage at this moment in the game. Winged Cow's just a little far behind, so I like having him go mid to get some of that farm, but maybe a team fight happening mid. Weenie rather is coming on the back line, and Raw Dog just gets caught out. And now it's a 5v3. Puffboy is top lane with no TP. And Ultimatum's just standing on a pink ward. Trying to bait them in. Ooh, they almost get boosted right there.
Almost, but not close enough. Turns out he is not what his name says he is.
Oh, and Ultimatum flashes in, trying to get aggressive, trying to jump on boosted, but he gets killed in the process. Ballsy play.
Boosted actually using the slash as well, just to make sure he can get at least an assist within that kill. And Arenas now is trying to catch out Demolisher.
Yeah, he uses the ultimate. Oh, just barely gets away with it. Irwini blows exhaust, and Winged Cow has to tank the ace in the hole. But this whole time, Flawed's just been pushing this wave up into the mid turret and has completed that Sunfire cape as opposed to the tier 2 boots.
And one thing we can see though is that there is a massive wave top built up. It will be crushing the tower in just a second and will be going down. It could potentially be doing a good amount of damage.
And boosted on the backline. Irwini ults in. Exhaust is down. Papa Dogger Dog goes down to boost. And now Winged Cow is going to suffer the same fate. Ult's boosted back, but unfortunately...
Tower though, he does have the Zonias.
Yeah, can Demolisher get the stun? Ooh, instead just goes for the damage, but Puffboy, what are you doing against that Snacky? You get one blind, but that's all you got, and has to flash and heal away, but that turret does so much. Another flash from Demolisher going in, Irwini's trying to take it up. He's sacrificing his life just to save Snacky. Might have been unnecessary.
No, Snacky was going to be in a bit of trouble. The flat, or the kind of jump in from Irwini actually did block the overload from Rise, making it so that it did save his life. So that was a very nice play by Irwini. However, I'm not sure if sacrificing his life for Snackies was ideal. Yes, there is that shutdown gold, but I'd say the pushing power of Shyvana right now is slightly higher than Caitlyn's.
Especially when Caitlyn, such low health. Snacky had to back, unfortunately, even though he did survive. Wasn't able to continue the siege on the turret, and pretty good defense there coming in from the Saints.
Yeah, and we do see the Scuttlecrab being picked up over here by, or for Demolisher. Actually, no, it was picked up, and the blue buff being given over to Zyax instead of Boosta. It's actually very bad for the... Oh, never mind.
And Raw Dog getting caught out again. He does not have tanky stats. He goes down and Boosted goes down as well. It's a 1-for-1 trade, but Demolisher gets demolished by the Slumdogs, rather. Puffboy trying to do his best to Snacky, gets the blind, but that's it. And now Irwini and Flawed are a great front line. Unfortunately, Ultimatum cannot get the damage he needs. Potentially on Irwini, actually, if he can get the escape here. Ooh,
is
and a great play.
Dodging everyone. They didn't really expect him to try and go for that type of play there. They should have had at least one person sitting there waiting in the lines.
Zyx has got to be careful here.
He is actually in a lot of trouble. He is much lower than Ultimatum, and he is the only one there. So if he were to get jumped on, it would be very risky.
Yeah, I think Ultimatum could have turned around, gotten a kill, might have died to Snacky in the process, though. And Raw Dog, unfortunately, just is not tanky enough on this Ivern.
Ivern overall does not have very tanky stats to begin with when it comes to the base stats, so he really needs items in order to rely on this. It's why he's kind of a champion that wants to go hybrid, so that he deals some decent damage, but is more of a utility champion.
Yeah, and now Boosted getting on the backline. Raw Dog is alone again. No one on his team even near him. Boosted should easily be able to get this, but Daisy says, no, I'm going to protect him as long as it takes. And the 1v1 Ivern versus Fizz, unfortunately, Flawed shows up, gets a kill for Boosted. Now Ultimatum gets exhausted, and Boosted's on the other side, gets a double kill.
And they are actually going for Baron over here as a quick sneak. Let's see if they can actually pick this up. It looks like they will. It's completely unsuspected by the side of the Slumdog. So Saints do get a sneaky little Baron to potentially claw their way back up into this game. At most, though, it will just prevent any pushing power from the Slumdogs. They'll still be getting this bot tower, though, since Wayne's Cow is going straight to mid lane rather than bot lane.
And let's not forget that the Saints unfortunately hold that record of most deaths or most losses per Baron.
Yeah.
So just because they secure it does not mean that they have a guaranteed win here, but it is a good way for them to make their way back into the game.
Wow. Actually, you can look at the Ultra and see that they even said that the Baron is for us. So they honestly did that just so that we could have a little note to say.
Ooh, and Winged Cow getting aggressive. Old Zayax, that's the support. He cannot do the damage that he needs to do. Gets destroyed by Ultimatum.
Yeah, and that is going to be an easy push right now into the mid lane. They do have a lot of minions. It should be a free mid tower right here. They have no one there to clean it up. They may try and go for an inner tower as well, since Flawed is still in the bot lane. And the only people here to defend are Weenie, Boosted, and Snacky, but they should not have that much wave clear.
Yeah, and they might actually be able to get a kill here on Arwini. He's getting bursted down, but Raw Dog again on the front line has to flash away defensively. And Puff Boy's having a difficult time doing the 1v1 against Flawed. He does not have the damage that Flawed does on this Scion, and he goes down as well. But now Ultimatum's trying to make the hero play. Unfortunately, not able to pick up a kill. Does do a lot of damage, and it does seem as if this mid turret will go down. Flashing from Demolisher. He's trying to get a burst on the Snacky. Is not able to pick it up, but Arwini goes down in the process. Shield in from Papa Dog. Ensures that Demolisher stays alive. Ooh! And a flash to stop. Ace in the hole. But now Boosted going in, gets the kill on the Demolisher and sacrifices himself. In the meantime, kill goes to Winged Cow, but now Zayax is back up already. And this is a lot of low health members, but Ultimatum says, I do not back down. The only way out is in. Can he get the kill? Ooh, unfortunately
Flawed
not.
has still been pushing the bot lane this entire time. The side of the Saints are only just returning back. They will be trying to stop him, and it looks like Flawed will have to back off. He is half health, and it's going to be both an Urgot and a Teemo chasing him down. Two very unnaturally seen champions, but Flawed may actually be running into Ultimatum here as he's trying to escape.
You know, Ultimatum doing a very interesting path. Decides to back in the enemy jungle, but if Flawed
He
is
will be
able to
getting
catch
caught.
him...
No, actually,
Oh, he cancels it back. He sees the ward. Oh, but now he's seen the jungle. Oh, he gave up his position. He can get over the wall, however, and he does have...
Flawed didn't even notice it.
I actually think it might have been Sunfire Cape that stopped the back.
That would be very interesting.
I think it was Flawed Sunfire Cape. He just got close enough.
He also did just pick up Azonia's Hourglass, so
I've seen that as well.
he is going for a kind of Mage Scion build. I mean, if you remember Scion pre-rework, he was known to be able to be a magical wizard warrior. And it looks like that's the same thing Flawed is going for.
Shaping up to be one of the more interesting of all of the games so far in this tournament. We see an AP take Scion top against a Teemo, and now a potential catch on Arwini, but unfortunately the Rise ultimate was a little too far, and Arwini's able to escape.
Yeah, and there's nothing else that seems too crazy, although one thing I do want to look at and discuss is going to be the Rylai's Crystal Scepter onto Puffboy with Teemo. The only thing that actually will effectively proc the Rylai's Crystal Scepter is going to be the blind shot. And he actually
Ooh, but he's actually able to burst out. Boosted flashes away. Boosted has to use Zonia's, but he's got the team there to back him up. But Ultimatum tries to go in to make the hero play to get the kill. He's able to rely on the ultimate, but doesn't get the kill on the Boosted. Too many shields and heals coming through. And now it's a 4v4. His Flawed is up top. He has CP available. He might try to get on the back line. And it looks as if it will be a disengage.
And this entire time, Flowers is taking the top third. He's going to be pushing and getting this next inner tower. That will be 6 towers to 2.
And Daisy, can he get... Ooh! Arwini almost goes down to Poison and Daisy, but now Boosted says, I want more. I'm going in on Demolisher. Gives up his life in the meantime, though. Snacky unable to get enough damage to autos, but picks it up a double on the bot lane.
And now, Flawed is going in on Win Cow with the ultimate, and they're still just on Raw Dog.
And Raw Dog again getting caught out. That's a triple kill over the Snacky. That is a very fed Caitlyn. But now Flawed has to use the Zonias actually working in his advantage, and he's gonna pick up another kill.
Ultimatum is in the bot lane though, so that's leaving the top lane free to take for Flawed. He's still chasing them, so it's actually going to be a lot of free damage onto the top tower by Flawed. He is very low though, so the moment the ultimate starts chasing him down, he will have to leave. And he doesn't have his ultimate to run away either.
Yeah, but I mean, we're seeing a lot of items on this Scion. He might even be able to 1v1. Nope, chooses to back, maybe even pick up a blue buff here.
He is going to be potentially checked on by Ultimatum right here. And Ultimatum does have his ultimate, so he may be getting caught out here. It's going to be a little risky.
Yeah, gives over blue buff to Ultimatum.
But meanwhile, there is a free Ocean Dragon for the side of the Slum Dogs. They're going to be picking that up, and there's going to be a red buff taken over by Demolisher. Looks like he's going to be not giving that over to Wayne Cow. They do have roughly the same auto attack range, however, Wayne Cow is going to be the one more likely to actually use the auto attack, so maybe it's slightly better to give it to him. Not too sure.
And Raw Dog might be getting caught out again. Boosted lands the ultimate. Is he going to go in for all that damage? Ace in the hole as well. That's 2 ultimates burned. Just get the support, and Daisy comes out, but Zoni's as well, and Snacky gets that kill. Daisy can't do anything, but they get the deletion on the boosted. Demolisher flashes in, trying to get Snacky, but getting it bursted in the process as well. Snacky can get Demolisher. Ooh, but the shield connected from Sarah. And a TP from Flawed, and now it's a 3v3. Demolisher trying to ult them away.
Oh, he gets it! Last second, he gets the ultimate to proc off. Barely escaping. He's incredibly low. They may be going for a tower here, though, since Demolisher and Wing Cow both have to back. The only people there to defend are Ultimate and Puffboy. We do not have that much wave clear. Now, while things are in a tiny bit of a lull, as I was mentioning before, the Rise Crystal Scepter on a Teemo is not that effective because it's the only ability that actually procs it is going to be the Blind Shot. Meanwhile, when you see people build something such as the on-hit Teemo with a Frozen Mallet, it's actually a lot more effective because then it procs on every single auto attack, which Teemo does more than cast his Q.
And Ultimatum might be getting caught out here. Bit off a little more than he can shoot. It's a 1v2, but now Demolisher's coming in, does not have his ultimate available to him, or Flash. It's going to be difficult for him to get in there. Ooh! And Ultimatum is able to disengage. And it looks like another Baron attempt here.
Another Baron. Now, if they get this Baron again and still lose the game, that's going to be 4 total Barons that they have taken during lost games.
That is still an impressive stat, however. That will put them, I believe, at the front and flash away from Ultimatum, but Pumpboy gets destroyed by Demolisher, doing massive damage. And now Snacky, Wingtail flashes in, gets the ultimate, but there's no damage to follow up except for all of that, and Snacky goes down, or Weedy might be getting cut out as well. Flawed, in the meantime, gets a turret on the bot lane, but Ultimatum, can he catch up to Arini?
Full health, and the only person there is Puffboy.
Yeah, he's got to get it. You got to think Arini's... Ooh, but he does burn Ignite. Probably not necessary, but he's just hoping to secure the kill.
And Flawed is now backing off, respecting the damage that is going to be there. He is picking up Aegis of the Legion. No, actually, it's going to be a Baron of the Command that he's going to be trying to pick up for himself. Going to make it so his split push power is just that much heavier, as well as giving himself some more AP in order to get even more damage with this Roar of the Slayer, as well as his W.
Yeah, but we're seeing here, the Saints able to push up with his other Baron, but Flawed, so much damage with that ultimate, is able to delete Ultimatum, and Demolisher is in trouble. He's able to activate the ultimate, but can he get through? Oh, Sarah's Embrace gives him just enough of a shield to make it out of there, but now Winged Cow's in trouble. Boosted gets the kill. Dogger Dog has got to run away. Defensive flash, still has exhaust up. Daisy comes in. Can she do what she needs to do? Unfortunately not. And Raw Dog goes down for the 10th time in this game.
But I will say it was a very good sacrifice to make sure that Demolisher could survive, just because he is their main wave clear tool. And if he were to go down, that would basically secure the loss for the side of the Saints. They still have a chance. If Demolisher is able to survive, come back, wave clear, and make sure that no more towers or objectives are taken, then they have a good chance of staying in this game.
Yeah, and they are able to secure this bot inhib. Potentially, it is going down, and Puffboy, Demolisher doing their best. But now they got to set their sights on the mid lane.
Plus, there's another big wave that's going to be heading towards top in just a second. He's sent someone over there, too.
Ooh, and Boosted Ultimatum trying to trade blows, but Zyx is actually able to get the root, and Demolisher goes down. This is looking really bad for the Saints. That's their 2 heavy hitters that are dead now. Winged Cow has got to put out a lot of damage. And Puffboy getting chunked, too. He's a little too far forward. They got to just back off.
Arena and Boosted are very low, so it looks like they will be backing off and resetting, making it so that they don't have to deal with a 3 or a 3v3. But double inhibitors are down. Dragon will be up in a minute 50. Right around when the inhibitors will be coming. Well, no, it's going to be much longer before the inhibitors come back. But the Saints still do have Baron buff for roughly 2 more minutes. So they have that to their advantage. Actually, wait. Yeah, just about 2 more minutes. And I believe the only person who actually has it still is Puff Boy.
And Rod Dog showing us what Ivern looks like when he's in a Caitlyn trap. Pretty comical interaction there.
Yeah, and I am kind of interested in the fact that there's only one person that has a somewhat different build than you would expect, and that being Flawed with Sion, just because he has the Zonias, the Abyssal Scepter, and the Banner of Command.
Well, with Demolisher's able to catch out Zayax. Mantra and Power to get them to go away, but Flash from the Demolisher gets the kill, and now Erwini's a little cut out, but Snacky's there for backup. And it's going to be a secured blue buff along with that kill. It's a good pickup for the side of the Saints.
I'm kind of curious what this final line is going to be from Demolisher. He has a Blasting Wand rather than a Needlessly Large Rod, so it's suggesting that he's not going for a Rabadon's Death Cap. Kind of trying to think of what else it could be. It may still be a Rabadon's Death Cap if he just didn't have the gold for the Needlessly Large Rod, but you'd think he would leave the slot open so he could pick that up instead.
Yeah, interesting choice here. And the Slumdogs are opting to push top lane with supers in the middle and bottom lanes respectively. And Dragon is up very soon here.
What type of dragon will this be? Since it
The
is
mountains.
35 minutes, yeah, it's not the R, yeah, it's going to be the Mountain Dragon, which would be heavily in the favor of either team right now. They both need a way to try and take more objectives. They have the game stalled out.
Ooh, and the Masha getting caught out a little bit. Flawed lands the ultimate. Saracen Embrace cannot save him this time as Snacky has so much damage. But now Snacky's getting a little cut out by Raw Dog, but he just doesn't have the damage as a support. Ivern, and he goes down as well. This is a massive cleanup. Ultimatum's trying to do the best he can, but can he get Flawed? That's 2 Zonias, and Snacky gets the kill. A triple.
That is
Over
a
the
full
field.
ace, and there are 2 waves of super minions in the base right now. They could easily just ignore this top turret, go take the base, which
Yeah,
they're not
absolutely.
doing.
It looks like they're opting to now as Flawed is TPing in, and this has got to be game. Double Zonias coming through in the end. Ultimatum was unable to pick up either of those kills, and this is going to be a victory for the Slumdogs.
Yeah, that's going to be game number 3 going over the Slumdogs. They now have a record of 2-3. Meanwhile, the CSS Saints are a record of 1-4, going to be making it much more difficult for them to make it into the playoffs. They would have to win 1 game and lose 1 game. Well, potentially win 2 games or win 1, lose 1, and then do a tiebreaker. But that is going to be making it for game number 3. We will be starting up game number 4 in just a second, which should be the UMN Wombats versus the Fighting Saints from CSS. That is going to be our final game of the night. Go ahead and join us. We'll be taking about a 5 to 10 minute break, and we'll be right back. I made that one faster because I really.
When the time comes, be ready. Don't you hesitate. There's nobody left in the world who could ever shake my faith. Holding me back, holding this back. Don't you see? You can count on me, put it down on me, 'cause now it's all on me.
And we are back for game number 4. We will be starting up in just a few minutes. We will be having the UMN Wombats playing against the CSS Fighting Saints. Once we get everyone in here for both teams and everyone readied up, we will be starting the champion select. Overall, there are a few things to point out with this game. Mainly that this is a chance for the Wombats to get into a tie for second place, just because they will go from a 3-1 to a 4-1 record if they win. Or if the Fighting Saints can win this game, they will be tied for third with the Wombats.
Yeah, absolutely. It's going to be an interesting game here played. I'm excited about it. It's not make or break for either team for a shot at playoffs, but it's still going to be it's going to add a little comfort for them so that these next couple weeks won't be as high pressure.
Yeah, and one thing I'm curious to see is whether or not Katarina will be an immediate ban again against the Wombats, because, I mean, we see it in the guy's name for their mid laner, Cat in the Hats, and apparently he is an exceptional Katarina player that every single team has been respecting him and immediately banning against him every single time.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. We've seen not only Katarina, but also a lot of other target bans, specifically Rek'Sai has been banned a lot. Even Jace has been banned twice. In the 2 games that he wasn't banned, he was picked up. So I expect to see those being high priority bans against this team right now.
Definitely. Now, I would also like to point out that Rek'Sai and Jace have been very common bans against the Wombats. Jace, just because their top laner Central Time has been seen to have decent performance on it, and the one time it was not banned against him, he actually played it quite well. And Rek'Sai has been a respectable pick against or for Nutters, so most people ban that away. In addition, just because Rek'Sai has an immense amount of overall jungle pressure, as well as map pressure by having the extra vision, while she. Technically, sorry for assuming your gender, Rek'Sai, while she is tremored.
Yeah, definitely. I like the pick. It's super strong right now, and it's for good reason banned a lot in this tournament, specifically against the team of the Wombats. But there's also some pretty obvious bans to go against the side of the Fighting Saints. Ex-Soviet has opted to play Victor for 3 of the past 4 weeks, so I think that would be a pretty strong ban against him. And also Poppy has had a 100% pick pan rate against this team as well.
Yeah, we have seen Poppy have a 100% pick ban rate. However, the one game that Poppy actually was picked for the Fighting Saints ended up being a loss, so it didn't show anything too worrying about having Poppy get played by Krell. So let's see whether or not they decide to ban Poppy again this week, or if they're actually going to leave it open and see if Krell can do anything this time.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see why Synos is so feared on Poppy. When we did see that one game played, Krell rather, when we have seen that one game and without a victory. But I definitely still like the champ. I think that comfort picks are always convenient, especially in tournaments such as this. And they are, the Fighting Saints are playing against a team that is overall on average much higher level than they are. So it will be interesting to see if they choose to maybe go for comfort picks as opposed to maybe more lane dominant counter picks.
Yeah, and speaking earlier with the 100% pick ban Poppy, another champion that has been a 100% pick ban for the side of the Fighting Saints has actually been Zac. The first 2 games they had it banned against them, in which both those games they actually end up winning. But then their 2 losses are able to actually pick up the Zac, and they lost those games.
It's definitely does not seem great for them. I mean, when they get the picks that aren't banned against them, they still end up losing. So it puts them in an interesting kind of awkward position as a team. Maybe more of an awkward position, I guess, for other teams. Maybe they need to rethink their bans against the Fighting Saints, because obviously the champs that they thought were high priority bans might not be as high of priority.
Now, one thing to keep in mind, though, is that the teams that they were playing the last few weeks end up being pretty high competitive teams. Ones that we mentioned before are like the higher ranking. So it shows that individual player skill is kind of higher against each other whenever they lost. And it was more equal footing skill that they played against. They won.
Yeah, definitely. It's gonna be interesting to see what they can do then against the team in the Wombats, who are ranked 3rd right now. They are 3-1 in the standings, only losing a game to what were previously the number 1 seed in the UMD Top Dogs, who lost to GBG today. So it's looking to see if the Wombats are able to pick up this win. They will be tied in standings, or at least in wins and losses, to their rivals in UMD. And that would be really good for them going into the playoffs here.
Yeah, and we should be having the last two members join up in just a second. We do have 1 minute until the game is scheduled to start. So they should begin here in just a moment. Just going to be doing a quick update check. But in the meantime, let's talk about one thing that I have been wanting to mention for a while now. It seems like Central Time is now going to have played more games than Spliffy, so it looks like he is a permanent member rather than he's more permanent of a member than Spliffy has been. So it seems like he is the new full top laner.
Yeah, and for good reason. The past 2 games he's played, he has played out of his mind. We all remember his first game on the scene playing Poppy, absolutely destroying Wukong in lane. And I believe that was against Flawed in week 2. Week 3 rather. But still, doing a fantastic job for this team. Absolutely deserving the spot as a starter.
Yeah, he has been doing quite well. We had the one game where he played Poppy into Wukong and ended up winning that pretty heavily. And then in his next game, I believe he played Jace and won that as well. Yes, he did.
Yeah, he's got what we can see so far as a comfort on the high priority top laners as you would at this tournament. We've seen a lot of Poppy, we've seen a lot of Jace, and both of them are very strong champs. I think Poppy has seen a little decline in play over the last couple of weeks and months, but Jace is definitely a popular pick. Again, we already mentioned that most likely will not see him if the Fighting Saints have done the research and choose to ban him out, because Cat in the Hat and Central Time, both we've seen, are very comfortable playing that champion.
Speaking of Cat in the Hat, though, one champion that he has been having great success on the last few games has been Syndra. The last 2 matches that the Wombats have played, Cat in the Hat picked Syndra, and he was pretty dominant within those games, you have to admit. Now, Syndra overall is a very strong pick that I do like to talk about a lot. Yes, I know. But it doesn't leave out the fact that Syndra is still strong.
Yeah, definitely. And we always get pretty hyphy as soon as that champ is picked. We love what she can bring to the team. We love the pressure she can provide, not only in lane with pushing the lane into turret, but also just how often she can roam. It's just really fun to see all the games, including her in the rosters.
Yeah, and I'm curious if Syndra's going to be banned out this time. It may actually be a ban coming from the Wombats, since they may not want to first pick Syndra. They may go for something such as Rek'Sai if it's left open, or a different power pick. We have seen that the Wombats pick and ban usually prioritizes powerful picks, and they're always willing to trade lanes rather than just pick for whatever's convenient for them. So, kind of curious to see how this champion cycle is going to be going down. We will be going to this game in just a second. Everyone is saying ready.
Yeah, and unfortunately, we can talk as much as we want to about bans specifically against the Wombats, but you're pretty much stuck banning Katarina. You're almost stuck banning Rek'Sai and Jace at this point. So it's really hard to limit the Syndra unless you can first pick it. It's really hard to limit the Poppy unless you can pick that away as well. So I think that being on red side, they're going to have to really be able to try to steal 2 picks away from the Wombats so that they cannot have extra comfort picks, because you got to think they're probably going to first pick something like the Syndra, something that's going to be very lane dominant that either Cat in the Hat or Central Time can play comfortably. So after that, it's up to the Fighting Saints to take 2 other options away from them.
Overall, I'd actually argue that it would be better for the Fighting Saints to ban Syndra and leave up Rek'Sai.
How about you elaborate on that? I'm curious.
I'm mostly saying just because for... Okay, sorry, I was reading the chat and trying to see what was going on. Mostly because Rek'Sai does offer a lot of map-wide pressure, and we've seen Nudges be successful on it. But I think the overall dominance and ability for Syndra to add to a game is more powerful than Rek'Sai can offer. So it's more worthwhile to give up a Rek'Sai, because we also know that since the Wombats like to go for a power pick, they could easily just go for Rek'Sai. but then you could counter with 2 other power picks instead and say, we'll give you Rek'Sai, which is still a power pick, but a weaker one than Syndra that we wouldn't have to worry about it because it's hard to beat Syndra in lane. You can instead pick something else that'll be very dominant in the mid lane that will be harder for them to try and go against.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be interesting to see. I think that, again, regardless of what happens in the game, the pick and ban is going to be so tricky on the side of the Fighting Saints. It's very difficult to limit the Wombats champion pool. It's very difficult to take those champs away from them in order to have the ideal team comp, because you got to keep in mind they also need to pick champs that not only they can play, but also will all work together and synergize for the overall team. So that's 3 very big things to think about. And it's going to be interesting to see if they can juggle all of that. It's going to be a lot on any coaching staff or any team captain decision making. I don't know how this specific team makes their draft decisions, but it's going to be a difficult one no matter what.
Yeah. And we do see that people are trying to just do a bit of banter back and forth in this chat. I'm going to go ahead and take a look at how the Twitch chat is going along. Looks like it's actually very quiet for tonight. It is the later part of the night, so I'm not expecting to see too many people. And, you know, with how poorly the Wombats have been playing for a while, I'm not surprised that their fan base is lowered. We went from the first time that they played in week 1, close to 100 viewers, and now it's only about 35. And
yeah.
Sarcastic.
It's okay. It's 10 o'clock. People got to sleep, you know. Not everyone makes the big bucks like we do, Fenris.
Wait, we make money?
Oh,
you get
sorry.
Paid?
Forgot I'm not supposed to talk with you about that. My bad.
You little... Oh, man. I need to talk to your manager.
My manager?
Yes.
It's just my mom.
Well, then I should go see your mom tonight.
It's getting weird. All right, back into potential.
I'm not talking about that. Jeez, get your mind off the gutter.
You know what? It's okay. We're over it. We're past that moment. And looks like both teams are getting ready. We are finally into picks and bans. Thank God.
That took quite a while. 7 minutes over the actual time that was scheduled for. But we do see an immediate Zac ban coming from the Wombats. That is definitely something that we now still have a 100% pick ban against. Same with Katarina and Poppy. Very expected bans coming from here. Let's see if they go for a Rek'Sai. No, we actually see a Lucian and a Syndra. So Syndra is banned from the Wombats as predicted. But the Lucian ban is actually very interesting here. It is going to leave up either Jace or Rek'Sai. So whichever one they choose to leave open, or possibly both if you go for an even more different ban.
What I'm interested in is that the Wombats actually opted to ban Syndra, limiting Cat in the Hat's champ pool even further. I guess they're giving respect to ex-Soviet, who has opted into the Victor more often than not. Leaving that up on the table is questionable, but I guess they just didn't want him to pick up that Syndra on the off chance that he was able to.
Now, they did automatically lock in the Olaf, which does suggest that they were planning to pick something else. This could be either a top lane or a jungle Olaf, so you never know. And with that pick, it shows that they weren't planning to prioritize the mid lane as a first pick, which would have left it open for the Fighting Saints. That actually was a good ban of Syndra, since that is another power pick that they could pick up. And instead, they made it so that they deny the secondary pick.
Yeah, I actually do like that now. They are able to secure the Olaf for themselves, which is something that Nutters has found a lot of priority in. And then, yeah, you're saying on the side of the Fighting Saints, they're not able to pick up that Syndra. And Victor has had success, but still has given them a loss in the meantime. So I think that the Wombats are still very confident playing into that specific pick. And potentially a bot lane combo locked in here. I like Jhin. We've seen Illusionist play Jhin twice. He's also played Lucian twice. So since they banned out Lucian, picking Jhin against him makes a lot of sense. It's one of his more comfort picks. And now we're going to have to see Illusionist on something that we have not seen him on yet. And it is locked in.
We have also seen Dewgolf have a bit of success on Jhin in the past. So there is that. This is also a combo, could potentially be a mid or a support combo. I'm imagining it's going to be a support combo just because Jhin and Karma support bot lane make a very good combo since you have the range poke from Karma that can follow up with the Jhin W.
Yeah, and I'm excited to see what they can do. But at the same time, we have seen Karma Mids have a lot of success in the past at this tournament so far. And Cat in the Hat, if anybody can pull it off, it's absolutely him. I'm excited to see where they're able to flex this because it's going to be, I think, it's going to be determined by who is shown in the mid lane here, which could be another Zed. This would be the second one we've seen
today.
Yeah, we just saw one not have as much success before, but maybe because of some team comp decisions around the Zed. But
you know, speaking of though, with what we saw earlier today, I don't think we can really try to predict where a certain champion's gonna go. So I mean, we saw Ryze, we said, okay, top lane Ryze. No, went jungle. We saw an Urgot. Okay, ended up being a carrier, right? We saw an Ivern and thought it would be jungle. No, went supports. And then we saw a Teemo and was like, oh, maybe Urgot top and Teemo ADC. Nope.
Just for the record, I never doubted the Ivern support, but we do see Victor locked in for ex-Soviet. It is his comfort pick. It's a champion he really likes to play. He has seen a lot of success on it. So I definitely think that that's a good pickup since they it's also, I think, a good matchup into Karma if they did decide to send that one in.
We also see the Ezreal picked up for Lucianers, which in lane has somewhat equal range as Jhin when it comes to the poke potential, but it's a little bit safer than Jhin once you get to the mid to late game stages. It will be less damage, however, and we see a Jace and an Orianna hovered, so if that is a Jace, that means it will be an Olaf jungle with a Jace top lane and then Orianna mid lane, which would be very, very poke heavy coming from the side of the Wombats. Not too much crowd control. The only real heavy CC actually coming from Orianna. So let's see if
I absolutely love this comp, however. I mean, as long as Nutters is able to pop Ragnarok, Jace can speed him up, Karma can speed him up, Ori can throw the ball and ult off of him. This is going to be fantastic for just having Olaf run straight on to the backline, just shred apart Victor, shred apart Ezreal, and then, I mean, Trundle and Gnar are not going to be able to put out enough damage on their own.
Yeah, and we see the Braum as the final lock-in coming from the Fighting Saints. Overall, a really good pick just because it will stop Olaf Axes, it will stop the Karma, it will stop Jace, and it will stop the Jhin. So a lot of damage will be prevented from the side here. We do see the Farm Moments is going on to the Jace. Kind of a troll thing. I'm pretty sure that they're going to swap at the last second.
No, he's going to do it. I know he will. He's listening. He's not going to let it slide through. Don't listen to Will. Don't listen to the coach.
Oh, okay. I actually got worried for a second. I was like, wait a minute.
Yeah, I guess Chilling Walk might have a little more say in his own team's picks than I do, unfortunately. But I do like that bot lane, Karma Jhin into Ezreal Braum. It's always going to be an interesting matchup. I typically would give it over to the Jhin Karma just because not only can they have a lot of lane pressure, but they can also roam very well as a squad together. Jhin can easily open up Curtain Call to help out mid lane. Cat in the Hat with Orianna also has some of that CC. So if she can lock down Victor, Jhin can pop Curtain Call. That's almost an insta-death on ex-Soviet. And Final Moments, again, with Karma, will just be able to speed up Jhin on the way to mid lane. So I think that's a really good combo for them in the bot lane.
It'll be very nice. Also, the Orianna and the Karma can very speed up this Olaf once it's a mid to late game, just because Olaf has Ghost. There is the Orianna that can create a zone of movement speed, as well as Karma having the Mantra Defiance in order to make it so that she can burst her whole team, and they'll be able to just run people down, even though they don't really have anyone that's too tanky. Aside from Nutters, they still have a lot of frontal damage with this whole team, which, if they can get onto the Victor and the Ezreal, will spell doom for the Fighting Saints. However, Victor and Gnar together have an immense amount of crowd control and engage potential, because if you have the Gnar ult people into a wall, followed by Victor's W, and then his ultimates for the Chaos Storm, that is going to be an immense amount of AoE damage that could wipe out nearly anyone, as long as they aren't ridiculously far behind.
Absolutely. I definitely like the Wombo combo on the side of the Fighting Saints as well. I think both teams ideally have a lot that they can do in the perfect situation. It's just going to come down to who can get that situation set up. And I personally think that on the side of the Wombats, it's just a little easier for them to actually use their combo to their advantage. However, on the side of the Fighting Saints, they do have a lot of peel for Illusionist on Ezreal, as well as Ezreal just naturally being able to kind of dodge around skill shots. So it's going to be difficult for them to jump on him, I think. But unfortunately, Synos doesn't really have an ideal target to steal any buffs from. I mean, Nutters on Olaf isn't going to be building full tank. Central Time on Jace shouldn't be building full tank.
Actually, you do see a lot of Olafs nowadays building very heavy tank. They usually will go something such as a Cinderhawk into a Deadman's Plate, maybe a Revisage of the magic damage, but you will usually see them go quite a bit of magic damage, or quite a bit of tankiness.
You could, but I think that into this matchup specifically, Nutter should realize that if he doesn't, then Synos will really have no one to steal those from. It could go either way, however, because having a tank on your team is always beneficial, and there's really no one else on the side of the Wombats that could fill that role. So I could see it going either way, but we have about 10 seconds till we get into this game. So, Fenris, who do you think overall had the better pick or draft phase?
Honestly, I'd say this could go either way very easily just because there is a lot of poke and a lot of frontal damage coming from the side of the Wombats. However, the overall crowd control is much heavier on the fighting states. It depends on how they play it out. When it comes to the way the current meta is, I'm going to give it over to the Wombats just because the Orianna, the Olaf, and the Jace are very powerful picks. Victor does match the Orianna quite well, but I feel like it will have a better scaling effect on their team.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see which team, again, is able to pull off their Wombo combo, as it were. I also am giving it to the Wombats, even outside of the meta picks. I just think that overall their team is able to get on the back line so easily with Olaf, unless this is the only, I think, option for the Fighting Saints is if they're just able to burst him out early, maybe catch him trying to be a little too aggressive without his team fully there to follow up. If he isn't building those tank stats, he will go down very fast. So a Victor and an Ezreal will be able to put a lot of damage onto him. But again, we'll just see where things go here. And we're loading into the game. Now, as I always like to point out, there are 4 skins on the side of the Wombats, whereas there's only 2 skins on the side of the Fighting Saints. So I think this is already decided, personally.
No, come on. You can't really be saying that. You always go to the skins for some reason. It's not fair to do that, man. You can't do that.
Skins for the wins. That's all I know. So there's 2 facts about League that I've learned. It's skins get wins, and the only way out is in. That's all I know.
That sounds like a very, very well. You know, I'm not gonna finish talking.
That's why I'm in gold
Sounds
4.
wrong.
Don't worry.
But one thing to remember here, folks, before this game, it is going to be deciding whether or not the Wombats can tie up for second place, or if the Fighting Saints will be able to bring themselves over to tie for third place within this game. One team will be going up in the standings, the other team will be staying down.
Yeah, definitely. And this is honestly the Fighting Saints' chance to catch up to the Wombats. The Fighting Saints are the only team that is 2-2 right now in the standings. It's kind of an awkward place for them to be, because they're that middle of the ground. They're better than the lower ranked teams, but they're not tied with anybody. So they don't really have like a rival that they're trying to beat. They're just really trying to not get dropped down any further. So a victory here could definitely put them up there with the big heavy hitters we've seen at the tournament so far.
Now, we do see a pretty big invade coming in from inside the Wombats. They're trying to get some heavy vision, potentially go for an early red buff if they aren't seen. It looks like they are backing off, though, not going to risk it. And instead, we'll just be going for a start over in the top side jungle. Meanwhile, it will be a standard start bot lane for Synos. Seems like there are a lot more games today where they had it where one jungler would start in the top side and the jungler would start in the bot side.
Yeah, and we're seeing here actually
the Dugov may actually be going for a camp here.
Yeah, I definitely like that. I mean, it's going to put them ahead in lane. Even if they only take the small Krug, it's still an advantage, but they're opting for both. They're going to get to lane a little late, maybe lose 1 farm, but overall they're going to get level 2 way faster, and it's going to put them at a huge advantage.
Definitely, and I am really looking forward to seeing how well they use the potential level 2 advantage, especially because it went straight onto Dugov, so now he will have his W up much earlier for more crowd control. And we do see that Central Time's going very heavy onto Krell here. Jace does beat Gnar really early, and he goes very heavy for a quick bit of damage.
Yeah, might get traded back, however. But there is lifesteal slightly from that Doran's Blade on both champs. But Krell again getting caught out. Central Time really looking aggressive. Flashes in. Does he get the damage? Oh, no! Not quite
Barely
there.
misses it. Oh, that has to feel terrible.
But even if he had gotten the kill, not sure if he would have been able to escape. So very greedy from Central Time. Going to give Krell a little more farm here. Potentially. Actually, he wasn't able to pick up any of that farm. But he does get to back, and with that first blood, pick up something along the lines of a longsword.
Yeah, and we do see that the consequence from that very aggressive play early on was actually, well, it put both both top laners behind in farm compared to the junglers. Now Central Time has got back up, but before they were actually well behind their junglers by quite a bit.
Yeah, Central Time opting to not farm and instead just continually try to push Krell. Got a little too greedy, but I mean, again, as long as he's able to keep this farm difference up, he might be able to just pull off something like that again, but maybe with some more success if Nutters is able to roam top.
And that extreme aggression early on really helps, and they are going for some aggression bot lane as well. Now, one thing I'm surprised of is that Nutters hasn't been trying to heavy counter jungle just yet. Actually, did he? I can't tell.
Yeah, unfortunately, I was not looking at that either. There were a lot of other things happening on the map, but as far as we can tell, it's been standard jungle clears from both parties here. I think that Nutters absolutely has the ability to counter jungle Synos on the Trundle. Olaf typically can clear faster.
He does have AoE while Synos is not, so I feel like it would have been beneficial for Nutters to try and be aggressive. However, in a straight one-on-one fight, I believe Trundle should win early on.
And actually, ex-Soviet getting aggressive on Cat in the Hat. He has Synos there as well, but Cat in the Hat is able to sniff it out, get away without burning any summoner spells.
Ooh, that was a very nice setup there. Now, there are sums all across the board except for the
Central Time getting aggressive again, but there's a lot of minions damaging him down, but he's going in on Krell again. He gets so much burst. Those minions are doing a lot of work, however, he has to back off. So close again.
Very low from that play, but he is catching an entire minion wave that will allow him to get a lot of lifesteal back with his Storm's Blade. And he does have more range poke. He should have his acceleration gate and his Q back up in just a second.
Ooh, and gets another smack in the face on Krell.
And actually, Krell was able to level up just in time. That nearly could have killed him, but I believe the level up saved his life. And now they're going very aggressive with Nutters over here. They could try to go for a hard push into the tower. Looks like Nutters is going to be back in instead. He is not back to, so he hasn't really been able to collect anything from that 21 farm that he's gotten. He will be picking up a Ruby Crystal, a Tracker's Knife, and, oh, never mind. He's actually selling it all back.
Instead, opting for the boots of Lucidity. He's going to try to get through the jungle faster, get those cooldowns. He's about to hit level 6, so having a Ragnarok down more quickly, it definitely helps him with his lane pressure.
Yeah, and I really want to see what the itemization for some of the players are going
We
to
see
be.
Synos coming in on Cat in the Hat. He's trying to get Ex-Soviet. Ex-Soviet has to flash away. That has a lot of damage on him, but Synos, can he get Cat in the Hat? But now Nutters is ghosting in that summoner spell down and is not able to get the kill. I don't know if Ghost was necessary, but it definitely scared Synos off.
Which was very helpful. Ken had also used Ghost, so it was going to be getting away either way. And again, as I was mentioning before, that whole skirmish little happened. I'm looking towards the items that looks like everyone is going to build. Lucian's going for the Tear of the Gods, probably going to be going to the Man Immune, and then Trinity Force, since he needs a little more damage rather than kind potential in this game. Ken in the Hat going for the early Morale Namicon. It's a very big damage and mana spike, but I'm pretty sure that Ken is going to play in a way that's going to opt for a little more of a resistance game rather than finishing that Morale Namicon, just keeping it at the Lost Chapter.
Yeah, I'm interested to see also here just the farm differential. I mean, Krell was able to get that first gold. He got an extra full Doran's Blade on Central Time, but has not been able to translate that into any sort of lead in map pressure. I mean, he's pushed Central Time into turret, but Central Time is still very comfortable doing the 1v1 against Gnar.
Yes, but now that Krell has hit level 6, there will be a lot more pressure within this lane just because of the Gnar ultimate being very high damage and crowd control oriented. So that will be completely turning the tides within this lane whenever he is in Mega Gnar.
And we're seeing Nutters actually able to take away blue buff. That's the exact jungle pressure we were talking about that we wanted to see from him, bringing it in at the perfect time right there.
Yeah, and we can actually see that Nars took that time of pressure to get a lot of vision.
Ooh, Cat in the Hat and Exoviet actually
shockwave.
blowing ult. Exoviet taking a lot of damage. But oh, Flash from Cat in the Hat and gets the shockwave for the deletion kill. Woo! So much damage coming out of our game.
Cleanup there, using his creating distance on mix so he can step out of the Chaos Storm and then flashing back in once he saw an opportunity to get the shockwave off.
A great mechanical play from Cat in the Hat. Did not have Ghost. Ex-Soviet didn't even have a chance to blow his Ghost.
And while Ex-Soviet is down, Nars is taking this opportunity to use that pressure to clean up the wards within the topside jungle of the Fighting Saints, get some pressure, and potentially take his red buff too, since it is up. He will be met by Sinos though.
He is spotted. Sinos and Ex-Soviet are trying to get in there. Are they able to stop it? Ooh, he is able to secure red buff, but now he's got to run away. He's going to have to pop Ragnarok. He does pop Ragnarok, and Central Time is there. Can they turn it around? Carl's coming in from the back. He's about to hit Mega. This could be really bad for the Wombats. Central Time might get caught out here. Nutters. Ooh, and the ultimate misses from Krell. Not the one he needed to go into. If he had gone in on Central Time, could have gotten the stun into the wall, but instead gets a little greedy. Now Curtain Call pulled on the bot side. The Illusionist able to, fancy feet his way around it. But now Central Time going back in on Krell. Krell, you missed your opportunity. You do not need to be up there. You don't have Mega. And he goes down one-on-one against Central Time.
Yeah, he ended up having the rage bar completely emptied out, so it was a very bad time to try and go in. We do see that Marvelous Mavin is trying to get a little bit aggressive here on Dewey-Golf, but he is playing the solo game very well again. We have seen before in some games that Dewey-Golf can farm alone in a 2v1 situation and still come out on top. You see that right now he is over 20 farm ahead of Illusionist.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. I mean, I liked what Marvelous Maven was trying to do, just get one of the auto attacks on him so Illusionist could go in, but unfortunately Jin got the passive on that fourth shot to give him extra movement speed as well, so not able to catch up. And now Final Moments is joining back in on the bot side. It's not looking good for Illusionist and Marvelous.
And we can take a look at some of the items to get an idea behind the way that the Wombats are going to play this match. They're looking to end early, and we can tell because of the Youmu's on both Central Time and Dewey-Golf, suggesting that they want the early flat armor pan, and they're also going for heavy rotation to pick up these early towers. So looking for the first blood tower right now in the bot lane, which will be split up among them, evenly giving each person roughly 300 gold if they can complete it. This next wave is coming up in just a second, so it should be an easy cleanup. And with the early armor pen builds and magic pen builds that they're going for, it's suggesting that they want to go for mid-game team fights rather than late-game team fights, and end this game much sooner than would be expected.
I'm curious why Central Time opted to TP bot. However, they do secure first turret blood, but they also had Nutters on the bot side. I think Central Time could have stayed up, but they're going in on Ex-Soviet. He's pretty low, but he is able to escape.
Now don't forget though, Nutters has Ragnarok. They're easily able to pick up Dragon, and with the pressure that they put in the bot lane, forcing Sinos and Krell to take top tower instead, they now have a lot of pressure in the mid lane and can try and go for this tower plus Dragon, so overall it would be a 2 tower plus Dragon advantage over to the Wombats.
Curtain Call pulled, but Marvelous Maven is there with a shield, and Illusionist might catch off Dewey-Golf. Nutters, they're in a ward.
He does have Flash and Heal though, so he should be safe.
Yeah, and he's opting to get aggressive. No mana, very low health, but he is not afraid. And now Final Moments might be getting caught out here. Sinos and Marvelous Maven. Ooh,
yes, Flash,
but the
shot
shot
out.
And now Cat in the Hat taking a little poke from Illusionist. He's in a pretty good position here to get that poke damage out, but the team is not there.
Really low. We also see that Ex-Soviet is having to back out right now. Meanwhile, Cat in the Hat could actually stay. He still has a bit of mana as well as quite a bit of health. He is fairly healthy. He can easily push this wave in while Ex-Soviet is back. Make so he can miss some farm. Make that farm gap even bigger. Right now it is about 30. The biggest farm difference between any two opposing laners in this game so far. And will be making the gold differential roughly 2,000 at 12 minutes, which funny enough is actually one of the lesser amounts of gold differences that we have seen between any of the games that the Wombats have been playing.
Yeah, I mean, the Fighting Saints definitely giving them slightly more fight than a lot of teams the Wombats have been used to, but I mean, the Wombats still showing why they are 3-1 right now, only losing a game to another team that is 4-1 right now. Yeah, definitely controlling the tempo.
We do see a Cinderhawk completed by Nutter, suggesting he will be going a much tankier build. He may be picking up some damage, such as a Titanic Hydra, which would be pretty expected. So wouldn't be surprised if that's picked up. The Yomu's Ghostblade is finished up on Dewey Golf, so he will be having a lot more damage with his ultimate and his W than before. Not so much damage with his auto attacks. It won't be scaling that well. However, the mid-game spike is going to be very, very powerful.
Yeah, and this turret is going down. The Wombats doing a really good job of rotating where they need their players to be at what time. Top lane, you got to think, is going to be going down next. Central Time has really good wave clear.
They are rotating up there with Final Moments and Cat and Hats.
And Krell's got to be careful. He's about to go Mega, but he's going to be a 1v4.
They're actually going to be reaching top lane before the Fine Saints do, but this may be a counter roam.
Yeah, we're seeing Nutters possibly caught off, but nope, the Fighting Saints do not want to engage, and they actually don't fully know that the entire team is here. They're going in. Ultimate from Marvelous Maven, and this is a team fight. Nutters pops the Ragnarok, trying to get in on the backline. Marvelous Maven take a lot of damage, but Carl's about to go Mega on the backline, and Sinus. Central Time doing so much damage here. Illusionist doing the best he can against Final Moments, but he's gonna get stunned. Oh no, he's able to get away. Cat in the Hat is trying to get in. And he does not have his ultimate up, but he is possibly able to get it. Still has Flash. Can he catch up? Ooh, Illusionist doing a really good job of dodging. Ooh, and he's got to be going down. One more auto.
Now that entire time, that was a 4v5 that they won 3-0. That entire time, Dewey Golf was in the bot lane, farming very heavily. He is now 90 farm above Illusionist, and has been pushing in this bottom wave so far that now Soviet is forced to go to the bot way or to go to the bomb lane and catch that wave. If not, it's going to be allowing the minions to do a lot of damage to that tower, and now Dewey Golf is going to be meeting up with his allies over in the mid lane, who's able to pick up a lot of gold for himself.
Yeah, and that seemed like a pretty good fight at the beginning for the Fighting Saints. I mean, if Carl was able to get on the back line and distract a 1v3 and 1v2 even with that Mega Gnar, it would have been good, but Wombats just played it too well.
Yeah, and another nice point about Dewey Golf being in the bottom lane alone for that long is that he picked up enough solo gold that now he's a full level above Illusionist. He's actually above a full level when you compare the actual experience bars.
Krell's about to go Mega. Decides not to push further than he's welcome. Trying to get damage on this turret, but Curtain Call pulled. And it looks like Central Time might actually opt to go in. Sinos taking so much damage here. And Karma is empowering everybody. Nutters, Ragnarok's in. Can he get the damage on the Victor? That's exactly what we're talking about. Speed him up. Let him run through. They get kill on the Sinos. And another one onto Marvelous Maven. That's a double for Central Time. He is a 4-1 Jace. This is exactly why he is on the team now.
The funny part is
Dewey Golf is not done. It flashes and tries to get damage on Illusionist. Can he get it? Ooh, lands a W. And oh, that last auto. If it had just been one auto more through the rotation, it would have gotten a kill.
The ridiculous part is that the people on the Wombats have not backed for so long that the lowest gold that they're currently going on to is 1,500 gold on Nutters. Everyone else is close to 2,000 gold, with Central Time having 3,000. That is an entire item that he's about to be picking up once he backs. We finish up the Yomu's Ghostblade, and most of whatever component he finishes next, which will probably be a Black Cleaver. Or it could be more damage. Now looks like he's actually going for the Iron Boots of the City, and then the Caulfield's Warhammer, which will probably be a Black Cleaver.
Yeah, I like that build path first. He's going to get extra movement speed, which will not only let him get to the fight faster, it'll also help out Nutters get to the fight faster, because Central Time will be able to place his speed boost in a more ideal location. And overall, just roaming potential has exponentially increased for the side of the Wombats. This is going to be a very difficult fight for the Fighting Saints to get back from, but it is in their name. They will not give up the fight, as Krell has still yet to give up his top turret. But now Central Time's going in on Illusionist. He's caught out. There's no way he can escape. This True Shot Barrage comes in, but there's no damage behind it.
Are going to be collapsing onto him. There's going to be 3 people going on Central Time. He is caught out, so let's see if he can escape. He's teleporting away.
And the TP coming in. They do not have the CC to stop it. Ooh, and Brom's
barely gets out in time. It's actually now meeting Krell in the top lane. It's going aggressive on him.
He might actually even be able to pick up this kill. The turret's so low. He just has to auto it maybe once or twice, and Cat in the Hat's there for backup. Can they get the damage? Krell is looking very weak, and Curtain Call pulled. He's got to go away from turret to stop that, and gives the kill to Central Time. And fantastic play. Unfortunately, if Marvelous Maven had been a little faster on his ultimate, that could have changed the entire course of the game. They could have gotten a kill, could have gotten a turret, but now Nutter's Ragnaroking in. He's going straight for the dragon. He says, I don't even need to fight the team. He gets the dragon secured, sacrificing his life.
Gets the dragon, and the entire time his team is just up in the top lane, getting the inner tower and putting a lot of pressure onto Illusionist, forcing him away. They will be having to back and try and stop the push in the top wave. They should be able to, though. Now that Soviet is back, he will have the wave clear. They may be able to stop this, but the tower looks like it will be going down.
Absolutely, and they said, look, the Fighting Saints plan was to trade a turret for a dragon, but, I mean, Nutter said, no, you were going to trade 1 kill for 2 turrets now. That's definitely in the advantage of the Wombats, and it looks like they're actually trying to catch somebody out. Fighting Saints are not going to fall for it, however, and they're just going straight for that inhib. They faked the back. The Fighting Saints thought that they must have gotten away, must have
Problem
reset.
is, though, that this is a 4v5 now. They're in a lot of trouble.
Yeah, but Central Time getting burst down. Sinos actually goes down as well. The Cat and Hat crawls on the back line. Can he get Dewey Golf? He's in a bad position. Cat and Hat has to flash away. Illusionist is looking really low. Krell opts to jump away as opposed to going back in. He's about to go back. Ooh, gets a good flash ultimate. Wrong direction though. He should have thrown them back. Now Cat and Hat's on the back line. Can he get any damage? Braum passive is stacking. He's slowed. It's looking bad. Ooh, gets bursted down. But Final Moments is able to escape. Ooh, if Krell had just positioned that ultimate in the other direction, that would have been such a good fight for them. Instead, it's still a 1-for-3.
And Final Moments is still being caught out, though, by Krell.
Or 2-for-3, rather. Sinos also had died in that. But now Krell, yeah, he's going to go down. And that is Ragnarok is popped. Marvelous Maven tries to throw up the shield, but he can't quite get the damage reduction. But Nutters gets a kill. He's going in 1v4. Can he pick up anything else? No, he does go down, but a 1-for-1 trade.
Jungler for the support is not an optimal trade right there, though. He should not have kept on going for that. If he was going to go on anyone, it should have continued for Krell rather than Marvelous Maven. Still a 1-for-1 trade, ended up being in the favor of the Fighting Saints. They are slowly closing the gap of the gold lead after making that very nice, kind of unofficial ace. But they just need to try and use this time to go for objectives.
Yeah, and we see the Wombats 2 dragons, 6 turrets, and a 7,000k gold lead. Looking very good for their team as of right now.
Most of the difference being between Central Time and Krell.
That is absolutely massive. 2.6k between the top laners, and this, you got to think that Coach is happy that he put Central Time in, but a TP coming bot lane. Sinos are trying to catch out food. Dewey Golf and Cat in the Hat. They're 2 squishy targets to do a lot of damage. Krell and Sinos are there, but do they have the damage to take him down? Dewey Golf has to flash away. Illusionist is coming in as well. Same with Marvelous Maven. Dewey Golf goes down, but Cat in the Hat escape now. Ooh, ultimate coming in from Marvelous Maven. Good juke from Cat in the Hat. Can he get Sinos in return? It might have to just be a trade. Oh, but the Braum passives stack up, and Illusionist gets a kill.
Central Time is getting this inhibitor. He will be caught out, though, by Soviets.
Yeah, he will have to back. Unfortunately, he cannot pick it up. Final Moments just trying to stop the siege on this bot turret.
If there's any way to throw this game, the Wombats are finding it. They're slowly laying this gold lead close up between the two teams, as well as just giving up free kills without taking any objectives themselves.
Yeah, I'm also confused about the Fighting Saints here, but now Krell's getting caught out. Central Time and Nutter say it doesn't matter if 2 of our members are dead and not here. We can still fight this. Ragnarok throwing out. Sinos might be going down, but now the focus needs to turn to Exoviet. Central Time jumping in straight. Jumps over the field. Wow. Gets the kill onto Exoviet. That was a 2v3. Well, started off as a 2v1, then a 2v2. And great play by the Wombats. I'm confused why the Fighting Saints, they picked up 2 kills on bot lane. Easily could have rotated straight to Baron. It would have taken a while to walk there, but it would have been a 5v3. They have to take their chances. They got to do something big to come back from this. I mean, they weren't even able to siege that bot turret. They just didn't have the minions.
Up now. We do see that they're paying. It looks like only Cat in the Hat and Nars are going for it right now. They do have Oriana, and Olaf, and a Jace all there. They could easily try and take this, but it looks like people are sniffing it out. Ezreal and Sinos, Illusionist, and Krell are all going over there to collapse, and they can tell that's going on.
Yeah, Dewey Golf Final Moments are on the bot side, trying to take this tower, maybe distract some of the Fighting Saints to relieve pressure from Baron. And
Soviet
Fighting
is being moved
Saints.
down there.
Yeah, Fighting Saints, they opt to stop Baron, but they lose the turret in the process. Marvel's Maven and Soviet are not going to be able to do the 2v2 against this Jin.
With how powerful Soviet is, it is actually very likely that they could win it just because Victor is known to have immense 2-item power spikes, just because he also has Rylai's and his Hextech item completed.
That is very true. Victor, or ex-Soviet rather, seems to be the focus on the Fighting Saints. They need to play around him and keep him safe in these fights.
I'm sorry, the Hex Core is not completed. It's at Mark 2.
Oh, and Marvel's Maven. Oh, again, not able to stop a back. His reaction time just slightly too far behind again.
They are trying to use this pressure, though, to make it so that they can establish Dragon Control. It is 10 seconds until it spawns, and Pheromones is still back at the base.
Oh, and Central Time has a flash away. Otherwise, Brahm's passive would have stacked completely. And now a great shockwave from Cat in the Hat is able to destroy Marvelous Maven, and Sinos might be next. He has to subjugate, but can he still survive? Because Curtain Call's also doing a lot of damage. Nutters runs in, burns to Ragnarok. He's got to run back to the back line. Dewey Golf putting out insane damage, even though he's not getting these kills. Absolutely doing what his team needs. And Central Time and Cat in the Hat are not letting them run away. They're saying, no, we just want to keep fighting. We want to get more kills. But now they turn their sights to Drag.
I feel like it'd be much better for the Wombats to turn their attention towards Baron, though. I mean, they could still go for it right after this Dragon. It's just that it's not a guarantee. And it looks like they are looking to reset instead. Just that with Sinos being dead, the jungler of the other team, it was essentially a free Baron if they were to have gone on it immediately. But instead, they offered the Dragon. It is a Mountain Dragon, though, so will help them take things such as Baron or towers in the future. So that is overall a lasting advantage. But with this Baron, they could have ended the game much sooner.
Definitely. It's interesting to see how both of these teams seem so reserved when it comes to going for Baron. And keep in mind, it is still 24 minutes into the game, almost 25. It's very early for a Baron, but we're seeing 3 drags on the side of the Wombats. If anybody's going to take it, it's them. But now Marvel's Maven might be getting caught out. Ghost pop from Nutters. Ooh, and the ultimate coming in. But now Ragnarok's there. He's going straight for X-Sovi. He says, I don't even need the bra. But Krull getting caught up by Central Time and Cat in the Hat. Gets deleted now. Marvel's Maven's looking pretty low. Same with X-Sovi. They have to disengage, but will they be able to? Nutters does not have a Ragnarok up anymore. But now Final Moments actually going forward. Curtain Call pulled, and Central Time on the backside gets a kill on the Marvel's Maven. Sinos has got to just tank up and let his team get away.
He's trying to get away.
Soviet's trying to put damage on the back, but he cannot get there. His mana pool really low right now, and the Illusionist might get caught out here as well. Central Time being a dominant presence. 10-2-5 on this Jace. He gave up for his blood, but that just made him angry, and you would not like Central Time when he's angry. He came back with a fervor.
If it's anyone that you don't want angry, shouldn't it be Gnar? I mean, he is the one that kind of goes mega.
Well, I mean, he had his chance. That's what I'll tell him.
Alright. Fair enough. Fair enough.
I do like how Krull has opted to build into a full tank. We see the Joram's Fist, but he did not complete it into Frozen Mallet because he understood he does not need that damage. He just needs to survive. But Illusion is almost getting caught out there.
Now, one thing to look at, though, is he has the Negatron Cloak, which is suggesting that he's going for a Guardian's Angel next rather than more health, which Gnar is very lacking as a champion in health.
Absolutely. If he goes Mega, it'll be nice, but Mini Gnar will die very quickly regardless of the slight armor and MR buffs. And now it looks like no team is really looking to engage fully right now, but the Wombats are just looking to get Baron control.
Full vision control of this Baron right now, so it should be free for them, just because the other team cannot tell how low it is.
And it looks like they're starting to understand that they do need to put pressure on this Baron now. Unfortunately, they just can't get in there, and it is secure for the Wombats. And now it's looking like a team fight. Ragnarok pulled. He's going straight for the back line. Marvel's Maven cannot shield everything in the... Oh, Shockwave coming in from Cat in the Hat. Just deletes 2 members. Nutters is able to get away with his life. Now Krell's trying to tank everything up, but he goes down as well. Double kill over to Cat in the Hat. And that's 3 down on the side of the Fighting Saints.
The Super Minions in the top lane.
Absolutely. They got to go back and defend the base. It's just Illusionist and Exoviet again. This time they have slightly more mana, but we saw what happened last time. It was 2v5. They just cannot stop the Wombats. And a flash over the wall from Dewey Golf, trying to get a kill onto Illusionist. Ooh.
4-shot not being enough, but there is a tower that just went down. They do also have Baron enhanced immune, so they could easily...
Oh
my
Central Time
goodness!
snipes down Illusionist. Marvel's maybe doing his best to stop it, but this is looking like game. The Wombats cannot be stopped. More like a Central Time cannot be stopped. What time is it?
Central Time.
Yeah.
Is that really what we were going for?
I'm sticking with it. That's how we're
that was
ending
actually
it.
kind of good. So, I mean, I'll give you that. But that is going to be game number 4 of week 5, going over to the UMN Wombats. They are now tied for second place with the UMD Top Dogs at a record of 4-1, making it so that now there is a third/4th place standing for the Saints at a record of 2-2 or 2-3. So no longer they have even scored record. But just going to look at some of the damage charts to see this game. I'm imagining that most of the damage is going to have come from Central Time during that match. He did an immense amount of work, and you can see he had the second highest damage on his team, only being lower to Cat in the Hat.
Yeah, and we saw, Cat in the Hat 8, 2, and 9. Those stats are nothing to scoff at. Central Time, though, able to pick up all those kills because of those snipes coming in. He was so good at placing those exactly where they needed to go. And looking at his build, doesn't matter how much armor the enemy team had, they were going down.
Yeah, the last whisper, lower down disregard, 45% bonus armor reduction, penetration. The Black Cleaver, 30% armor penetration, and then Yoma's Ghostblade for an extra 20%, or for 20 flat armor penetration. That is an immense amount of armor that's being destroyed. And the only person who really built armor was, Cynos and Krell. Everyone else didn't have much bonus armor on the side of them, so they were basically being brought down to 0.
And looking at Cynos in particular, his build was so sporadic. He went straight Cinderhulk and got Tiamat early in the game to get that early jungle clear. He wasn't even able to complete another item after that. He had Chain Vest, Giant's Belt. Very interesting build path there for him.
Was it potentially just getting the Tiamat for a better clear speed and then going for a Dead Man's Plates so they could actually chase people down?
Yeah, must have been the Dead Man's Plate, but still not even being able to finish a second item is pretty rough, especially when you're playing from that far behind. And the Wombats just did a fantastic job. Anytime they got a lead, they immediately got something after it, even if it wasn't necessarily something big like a Baron or like a Dragon. They would always be able to get something, whether it's clearing the jungle, whether it's taking down 1 turret, 2 turrets. And then in the end, all those small advantages added up to just a stomp.
Yes, and just as a little bit of a statement, I would like to say that the winner, the MVP of the game was going to be going over to Central Time, just because of his ability to take that early bit of a fall from the top lane when he died for First Blood and turn it into a massive advantage for himself.
Absolutely. He almost got the kill. He was going for First Blood. I think he understood he would have died anyway. He just wanted the First Blood gold, so he would be ahead in lane. Unfortunately, gives it up, but Krell just not able to capitalize on it. It looked grim at the very beginning, but then we saw Central Time immediately have such a big CS differential and then still be able to 1v1 regardless of the item advantage Krell had. I'm also disappointed to see that Krell built a second Doran's Blade. I wish he had built something like the cloth armor, like a long sword instead to build into another item. I don't think 2 Doran's Blades on Gnar is necessarily that good. I think he was trying to be able to then further his lead by out punishing Central Time, but Central Time on Jace is a force to be reckoned with.
Definitely. That's something that's going to go, or that will have to go back onto the ban roster against this team. We usually see Katarina, Jace, Rek'Sai, but for the last 2 weeks against Central Time, Jace was left open, and now it is obvious that you cannot leave that option open for him. And
yeah, absolutely. And you got to think that the team that they're facing next week, which will be St. Olaf, they got to do their homework. They got to figure out how to beat this team in the pick and ban phase, if that's even possible.
Well, we have seen that this team does lose. They have weaknesses. They were exploited very well against the top dogs. So we just need to see teams like that try and use similar styles.
Absolutely.
As a quick recap, we do have the week finished up. Now just going over the games and how they went. We have game 1 that was between the Gangs by Gophers and the Top Dogs, going over to the Gangs by Gophers, putting them in the number 1 spots, while the Top Dogs are now tied for second. St. Olaf versus MSU Moorhead that went over to St. Olaf, and MSU is now still stuck in last place with 0 wins. Is going to really have to turn the game around if they want to make it to the playoffs by the end of this split. CSS versus UMD, versus Slum Dogs, going in favor of the Slum Dogs, now making it so that they are out of that 1-3 standing, and they are now tied for 4th at 2-3. And we have game number 4, as mentioned earlier, being the Wombats versus the Fine Saints, going over to the Wombats, putting them tied for 2nd.
Absolutely. So it's going to be interesting seeing this next week matchup. Again, Gangs by Gophers, the only undefeated team still in the tournament. We'll see if the Saints are able to beat them in week 6 or if they will still be undefeated going into the final week for week 7. I'm excited to see what happens in that week 7 since it is Gangs by Gophers against their own home team in the Wombats. That's going to be an exciting match to watch personally.
Definitely. It'll be very fun to see how these matchups go on for the last few weeks and who will be going into what brackets for the overall playoff season once it hits. But that is going to do it all for tonight. This was the MNLCS brought to you by Enhanced Gaming. Go ahead and check them out. Get their awesome gear such as keyboards, mice, other gaming accessories for computers. And brought to you by Caster's Caravan, which is a shoutcasting company that will hire people that are looking to get into shoutcasting. Go ahead and contact them if you're interested, or go ahead and just talk to me. I can give you some information. But this was brought to you also by your shoutcasters, Donovan, Madcast, Fenris, Faye, and Steven Sir Buttkick Kangas. Thank you very much. Any last words that you'd like to say, Sir Buttkick?
I don't know. Hang loose, home slice. That's all I got.
Good try. But as mentioned before, that's going to do it tonight for the MNLCS. Thank you very much, everyone who is watching, and I hope you all have a wonderful night.